This episode is brought to you by Kolektakon, your source for One Piece Mega House merchandise. Visit them at kolektakon.com/One Piece.
This is the unofficial One Piece podcast, episode 326 for the week of Monday, July 7th, 2014. My name is Zach, and today we have some really cool guests I'm excited to introduce here. First, of course, as always, our very special guest translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump, we have Stephen Paul with us. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, what's up, guys? If any of you were at Anime Expo this week, I hope you are new listeners who were inspired by our excellent panel, which we will talk about later in this episode.
Yes. We also have the dude with us. Hey, dude.
Hey, Zach. Good to be back. And that rhymed. Right on.
We also have from Smodcast and Bagged and Boarded, we have Matt Cohen. Hey, Matt. How's it going?
Konnichiwa, bitches. What's going on, guys?
And finally, we also have Dennis, also known as Itchnob, here with us. Hey, Dennis.
This is the ghost of Dennis who died at Anime Expo. Woo! No, but seriously, I thought I was going to die at that convention. It's good to be on.
Why is your
He's
ghost
alive!
Why is your ghost falsetto?
It's like,
Why isn't
it's like
your
reverse
ghost falsetto?
puberty. Everyone knows that. When you become a ghost, it's like reverse puberty. You just get real
you start
high.
all over. You're less than a year old as a ghost. What do you think? Huh? What?
Ooh, I like
Yeah.
that.
Exactly.
Baby ghost.
Well, that explains a lot, I guess. So, Dennis and Steven, you two joined Steve and Dominic over at Anime Expo this weekend. We're probably going to go into, we'll go into a little more depth in a little mini segment, probably a little bit later on in the podcast. But we're also going to have, Dennis, I don't know if you were there, but I heard that there was a whole episode recorded.
Yes, there was. Well, intro of an episode, because the rest of the episode will be the both the One Piece panel and the One Piece podcast panel.
So
Audio.
That's going to probably be a very long episode unless I split it into two parts. But yeah, that's going to be, I'm looking forward to that. I want to listen to both of those. I was not there. But did you have fun, Dennis, besides you dying?
I did have a lot of fun. There was a lot of awesome One Piece fandom representation, both like coming to all the panels, coming to the cosplay gathering, and flooding both the Viz and Toei Animation booths for all their One Piece merch, making lots of stuff that I wanted to sell out before I could get to it.
And I heard they had energy drinks, One Piece energy drinks.
We did. It was actually harder finding the One Piece ones because these were all left over from Comic-Con from last year. No, they're being stored in like a nice cool warehouse. But the One Piece ones, not only were they popular, they're also the sugar-free versions of the energy drinks. And, most people want the regular ones with sugar than the sugar-free ones. So we did not start with a lot of One Piece energy drinks in stock. But
I think like a sugar-free energy drink at that point, like there's really nothing even natural in that could possibly break down. Like they could probably last forever, I just assume.
I feel like at that point, you might as well do cocaine and it will be healthier if you're trying to stay
I have to
awake.
agree with that,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? At least that comes from a plant, theoretically.
Yeah. And
At one point.
and it's grown in the beautiful groves of Colombia instead
Exactly.
of wherever the hell, energy drinks are made. But it gives you instant hockey, I hear, so that's good. Well, I guess cocaine may, too. I don't know. Wow, I'm getting into sticky territory here. So on today's episode, we have a manga recap, anime recap, Toonami recap, a little bit of an AX go-through. We'll have piece together. I'm really excited to get started, so I guess we could get right into it. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Oh, Steven.
Wait,
Maybe not.
I have one surprise announcement. So tomorrow is the release date of the new One Piece game, Unlimited World Red, at least in North America. And Jason and I are going to attempt a comeback with a little Grand Line Gaming. I don't know how long this is going to last, but I think the current plan is that we'll try to get through the whole game. So tomorrow, assuming that he gets his copy and everything works out. I think we're looking at 6:30 Eastern time on our Twitch channel, is it com or TV? TV/Grand Line Gaming. And I hope you'll join us. If you were already a subscriber, you probably noticed that, and you got to notice that the channel was online. We were just testing stuff out, making sure it all still works. I hope you swing by and check us out.
Cool. All right. So with that, let's get back into the show.
My copy's not coming till Thursday.
This is the manga recap for chapter 752, Palm, and my interim vice principal today, the dude, will be taking over the cover page here. What's going on?
We have our next cover story. We did last week, but now it is official. It is Jinbei, The Solitary Journey of Jinbei, First Son of the Sea, Volume 2, Lost Little Sea Kitten. And here we have Jinbei in his little tiny bubble boat, looking pretty solitary.
Did you just say bubble boot?
Bubble boat.
Das Bubble Boot.
But if it was, yes, but if we were in Germany, it would be Das Bubble Boot. So, so there's Jinbei floating along, and there is a little sea kitten. If you guys remember, sea cats, they are native to Alabasta. So, my guess is that little guy needs to get all the way back to Alabasta, but that's just me venturing a guess.
Yeah, this makes me a little curious of where things are going. Steven.
Yeah, it's like I know obviously when we saw the thing last week and it said, off to see my friends, like, okay, so this is going to be Jinbei going to the Straw Hat Crew somehow, and there has to be something that happens because it can't, otherwise Volume 2 is going to be like, here I am, I found my friends. But if this involves like Jinbei going and finding the legendary takoyaki recipe and a bunch of crap like that, I'm gonna be kind of pissed.
That was good when it was around, but that did take like 50 volumes, right?
That was one of the longer ones.
Yeah, that was a long one.
Plus, at the time, it was a character that nobody gave a rat's ass about, Hachi. So, but here we have Jinbei, who everybody's kind of clamoring to be the next crew member.
Since he basically said later.
Yeah.
He didn't say no.
Later, let me go save a kitten first.
Yeah.
I have important work to do here. I have to drop off this mud guy and then save this kitten.
Apparently, Jinbei's a delivery boy of
or a
the
fireman, a firefighter. Isn't that what? Isn't that the stereotype?
Isn't that what firefighters do?
Say, they turn in mud people and save kittens.
He has a giant bubble ladder in his little boat.
Yeah.
Because cats.
I forgot a little bit off of this, unless you guys have more to talk about on this front page. No? Okay. So we're going to actually be off next week. I don't think we had a chance to talk about that yet, because Oda went to Taiwan, right? That's the reason.
As far as we know. We know he went to Taiwan, and it was also on break this week, upcoming up next week. So, yeah.
Yeah. So next week, as we said earlier, we're going to have a ton of Anime Expo extras, so don't go away during that, because there's a lot of cool stuff. Not to sound too desperate, which I know I do.
I will hit unsubscribe right now.
Dude.
For 1 week, unsubscribe.
No, don't. But no, please. Dude, go ahead.
Okay, so we're starting the chapter now.
Sure, if you'd like.
Great. Well, and away we go. So the last time on One Piece, Luffy and Law were tricked by the Funk Brothers into going into an abandoned well that they thought was a shortcut, and they were cornered by none other than Doflamingo himself.
That kind of sounds like an episode of Lassie for some reason. I don't know why.
They're caught because they're caught in the well
By the Funk Brothers.
That would be a good episode of Lassie. I'll just put that out there.
What's that, girl? The Funk Brothers? The Funk Brothers are in a well? Wait, that doesn't make any sense. How come I can't understand you completely? Oh, you're a dog. So anyway.
Sorry.
So they're in this well, and there's Doflamingo, and he's just kind of making fun of them. and Luffy just attacks him as Luffy would, because that's how he does things. And Doflamingo reveals, "Oh yeah, this is definitely not a shortcut, you idiot." And he bullet strings Musi, taking Musi down in one go. Luffy's very distraught.
As he should be.
Yeah, as he should be. He's his pal. Law wants Luffy to leave Musi behind, and in one of the most recent kind of like, oh no, like kind of panels that I've seen, Musi just kind of falls like half dead into this water and starts like drowning, just like kind of fucked up.
With Law still strapped to his back.
Yeah. Oh, and Luffy too. But yeah, that's kind of fucked. I mean, look at him. Like, that's sad. It's like, oh, it's a dying animal. Anyway, next page.
But as we see, it's apparently only like chest height water, because he's just basically floating there in the water. I mean, they're right at the water's edge right there. But anyways, Doflamingo he's basically taunting Luffy. He's very disappointed. Luffy doesn't seem to have any sense of, danger. The fact that he could be in peril, anyone could kill him, he says. And it's a bad situation. Luffy is now in the water. He's clearly losing his mojo. His eyes are half closed.
Is that an Austin Powers reference?
Well,
Just the word mojo
yes
in
and
general?
No,
and
but
no.
in this case, I feel like. Okay, fine. That was my bad there.
Yeah, Luffy definitely doesn't have a boner right now. I'll tell you that.
So Doflamingo's pointing out that even with everything that is happening, he's managed to draw all of these allies to his side, all of the gladiators from the Colosseum, and this is Luffy's special ability, more so than the hockey and what have you. This is his the thing that makes him dangerous, the thing that made Doflamingo curious and follow him. Follow his exploits, and now he finds out he's just an idiot. Look at, like, he got himself trapped in the bottom of a well, and now he's like, why did you choose him, Law? I thought you were smarter than this. And tellingly, Law has no response to this. He's like, oh shit, damn it, he's right. But no, he's Law is obviously not happy about this turn of events. And he says even as a kid, Law was more cunning and calculating than he's acting right now. Who is it that turned Law into such a sap? And this is he's hitting a weak spot for Law, because he's like, no, I'm not like you. I was saved, and apparently by Doflamingo's brother Corazon. And Dofi's just taunting him. He says, well, if you haven't gone soft, then why are you dying such a pathetic death, basically handcuffed to a bull and at the bottom of a well? It's a pretty miserable way to go. But wait, these two doofuses show up again and basically just like, not even sucker punch, they're just like sucker slashing him from behind. Jeet just basically cuts straight through him with his cutlass, and Abdullah is jabbing him with his trident there.
So when I saw this panel, Steven, I was like, oh shit, I was the only one wrong last week when I said maybe it wasn't a string Doflamingo. I'm like, oh, well, unless Jeet and Abdullah took down Doflamingo, I think I'm screwed here.
Yeah.
And
Which would've been
Luffy,
cool.
excuse me, so on the next page, we've got Abdullah the Butcher and the Iron Sheik being all happy because they just saved the day. Luffy seems a little surprised to see them and almost not happy, just more of like, you guys? And then, of course, we find out that they were not going to give the death of Doflamingo to two weird guys who we can never remember their names. So it was a string doe all along, a marionette, as you will, as Law says. We see that Luffy is still alive, luckily, because we still get a moo out of him. And the two Butcher brothers are like, whatever, we don't care, we're getting out of here right now. Luffy thanks him for saving them, and then they realize of course, that it was a fake all along because they were tricked by the Funks as well. And they came down to beat him up, but then they saw Doflamingo. And, Doflamingo appeared out of nowhere and just killed the Funk. So they now know that, look, we don't know what's going on at any point, and we're probably all going to die, so be careful. It's basically the gist of this.
Good lesson there.
Everyone's tricking everyone, and then Doflamingo shows up to kill you. Also, it's a string Doflamingo, so just let's hide in the well.
And that's how the series ends.
That's the One Piece treasure.
to hide in the well.
I feel like I missed an opportunity earlier by not making a Timmy O'Toole joke.
Well, you could do
You'll
it
have to
now
explain
if
it
you
now.
want.
Is that the little boy who fell in the well or whatever?
It was Bart Simpson who fell in the
Simpson's
well.
little boy, yeah.
All right.
There you go. I got you, man. I got you.
You did miss an opportunity.
Yeah, well, I mentioned it now, so the listeners who could yell at me later, who are always clamoring for those Simpsons references, can rest easy.
One more quick note, and I mean, there's always a lot going on in every arc, but am I the only one having trouble keeping track of all 3,000 gladiators introduced to us in this thing?
Yes, you were the only person having.
Oh, okay, never mind that.
No, I'm kidding.
So the thing I wonder here, so this means basically that, you would assume, do you think this means that Kelly Funk was just basically tricking them on his own and was going to Tommy gun him inside the well? Or do you think he was working with Doflamingo and then Doflamingo double-crossed him?
I lean more towards the latter because I'm like, why randomly start effing with people in a well when all this stuff, you know what I mean? Like, why pick this moment to become, I don't know. It just seems
well,
crazy.
they have bounties.
Yeah, I picked the former, so I was thinking that he just wanted the bounties on Luffy and Law's head, since Law's pretty much incapacitated. Like, oh, Luffy's underwater, and I know what devil fruit does to water, or what water does to devil fruit users. So that was my guess.
Well, the question is, when Doflamingo says it, what a stupid trap to fall into, a shortcut? Is he referring to his trap, or it's still. I still lean toward the latter too.
Well, I don't know. I feel like that Dofi's been shadowing them anyway.
Yeah,
the string clones.
That's true.
So he probably saw this as an opportunity. But the reason I think that also is because not every single one who was saved by quote unquote God Usopp, needs to go save Luffy. Big example, Dagama is basically only doing that because his king is completely he's got to follow his king.
Right.
So.
Yeah, he would be taking the money if he could.
Oh, yeah. Of course. He got punched a couple times to, set him straight. Dennis?
So on this page, Luffy feels really humiliated that he just got saved. I'm thinking he's saying he got saved by Doflamingo.
Right.
That's my guess, which is why he doesn't think that, or at least that's why I don't think that Doflamingo and the Funk brothers were in cahoots. So he's trying to find out what's going on outside, and since he thought he was taking a shortcut, he doesn't exactly know where everyone is right now. And then we move over to where Kiros is on the first step, trying to figure out why everyone's been taken out in front of him. And
all right, so he is following them. He is not going in a different direction.
Right, that answers that question.
He just has a very bad sense of direction, apparently. Maybe that's a swordsman thing.
He also only has one leg.
Yeah.
Hey, can't blame everything on the leg, guys.
I kind of can't wait to see him hopping around in the anime.
My God. Bleak pictures.
Well, we have Luffy looks like getting ready to prep an attack. Meanwhile, on the second step, where all the other gladiators are, we got... Oh, and Steve's not here for this.
Eek, not a single one of them fell in battle on the first step.
Eek.
That's why I had to get Dude here this week.
They were doing that all during AX, so it was great.
Oh, yeah.
I bet.
I can't believe there was a Dellinger cosplayer. That's fantastic.
Wow.
I know it made Steve's weekend.
Yeah.
Steve will tell you all about it when we get to that part of the AX recording.
Next week. So stick around.
The members of the Doflamingo family are all surprised that everybody made it that far, yet they don't see where Luffy is. Yet, lo and behold, giant fist punching through the ground right in front of all the other gladiators as they're making their way to where Doflamingo's family is.
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That was.
If you didn't say it.
Yeah.
No, it's a cool scene there. Is there anything else to say about that? It's just a cool scene, I guess.
He's been doing that a lot in this arc with Pika. There's a lot of
it's true.
hand coming down, city flying up in the air stuff,
Yeah.
and I am okay with it.
Or vice versa.
I guess it kind of was a shortcut, self-made.
Yeah.
They say that, I think, don't they? I think at some point, yeah. Right.
They do in the next panel.
Yeah, on the next page. So here you see the first panel is Cavendish on the white horse, like, I guess prepping the troops almost, or stopping the troops. I don't know how the hell to put that. Anyway, they call it in the well so he makes it up to the first step out of the well, and he made his own shortcut, as we just said. And Abdullah and Jeet are pretty shocked about that. And Luffy tasks them with taking care of Musi, which I don't doubt that they will do, because he's one of God Usopp's men, so they'll listen to him, I'm sure. So Musi's
or they will eat Musi.
That's another very distinct possibility.
One of them is called the Butcher.
Exactly.
And yeah, that's actually... Maybe they're not the best people to put it to.
The two men with really sharp knives and pitchforks.
You two, take care of this delicious, cow. Bull,
Moosey burgers.
That doesn't sound terrible. As we continue, Gladius, who I can't believe I remember his name, points out that enough of this. Don't lose sight of the enemy. I just assume he acts way too serious for his own good, even though he's partially ridiculous. Well, he's actually probably one of the least ridiculous on Doflamingo's crew when you put it all together. And you see Don Chin Chow stepping into the chaos here and getting ready to head to the third step, while Luffy now prepares to get out of the hole and head to the first step. I can't believe... I'm sorry, second step. From the first step to the second step. That's how numbers work. So I don't know why everyone would look down a hole where a giant fist just came out of, but sure. If that's what you want to do, go for it. You're probably going to get punched in the face, and they do.
Sometimes people just walk into trouble without realizing it. Like, whoa, what was that explosion? Let's go find out.
That's true. It's like a deer in the headlights, I guess. Kind of, not really. And so they all get beaten up. This is a hilarious panel, I want to call it, because you still got Law on Luffy's shoulder, and it looks like a panel out of DBZ. Just kind of like you could see Goku flying out of the way, but here it's just ridiculous because he's just jumping out of a hole.
That's like the illustration that they would put on like the cereal box when they have a promotional thing, like Luffy just punching out of the box.
Law looks like he's planking.
Well, look, he's got to keep that workout going while he is motionless on top of Luffy there. And
he's doing Kegels right now. We just can't see it.
And Luffy announces again what he's going to do, and that is go after Doflamingo. And meanwhile, everyone yells, "Oh, it's Straw Hat and Law!" Well, yes, you just got punched in the face by them. Good going there. Dude.
And meanwhile, on the former Royal Plateau, we see a fantastic face fault by two characters who are the most unlikely to do face faults. And Bartolomeo.
Cavendish.
I saved myself there.
Kuma lost some weight.
Yeah. Who has just a ridiculous face in and of itself. Speaking of, I just love the fact that Robin's making these ridiculous faces now, too.
Yeah, I do like that.
It's fantastic. So they say, "You're joking, right?" And Leo just goes, "It's twoo." A wed woes, how romantic. So this was just a continuation of a conversation they were having earlier, wherein... well,
we'll find out.
Yes, the Tontatas... In a nutshell, want to help this member of the these members of the team fly to where Luffy and crew are, or well, they'll meet them in the flower field using stag beetles, which doesn't seem very plausible. He calls it a TAL jumping service. Big people are too heavy to fly, but we don't got much time, so. You gotta fly, I guess. But So he says, you can't. It doesn't matter if you can't fly. You just got to do it anyway. So they, I guess, are pushed off of the plateau, and Viola and King Riku go to see what's up, and turns out that Robin, Bartolomeo, and Rebecca are falling with style, slow falling.
Nice.
Whatever that word is.
Parachuting.
Parachuting with beetle shooting.
Beetle shooting, yeah.
It's like a Mario Brothers power-up almost.
It kind of is,
yeah,
I like that. It's like, when you have Cape Mario, but you're holding down Y when you're jumping, so you get like a slow fall.
I'm excited to see this in a One Piece video game now. Thank you. The Stag Beetle.
I'm sure that the entire game will actually revolve around that, as opposed to actually being a good game.
Whoa!
That'll make parkour that much easier
Shots
in the One Piece
fired.
world.
If I can't have my grand battle games, no one can. So, so Leo explains, yes, you can't fly, but we can slow your fall down, which makes complete sense when you think about it. Slow your roll. I mean, let's say yes. It's One Piece.
It's basically like low gravity is what I take from this.
Yeah.
Guys, there's one way to find out. Let's get a bunch of stag beetles and jump off a building.
Let's do it, guys.
Have time together first. Let's go.
Wow, we are just giving people terrible advice this episerd
So I guess what's happening here though is that we have several stag beetles that are tied together and they are helicoptering. I'm guessing that's what's happening there. That makes sense.
Maybe we can submit this to the Mythbusters and they can test that out.
Well, then we would probably never hear from them again.
They'll just have the loser guys do that. I'm sure Adam and Jamie will be fine.
Probably. Okay.
With that mustache?
Jamie wouldn't do it because his beret would fall off.
So, anyways, they're floating down over the city, and they're basically just going to hop across the roofs, and you can see them kind of kicking off the top there, and then shooting way back. The extra lift from the yellow cubs is giving them lots of air as they jump, which looks like it would honestly be pretty damn fun if this actually worked. Bartolomeo is certainly having the ride of his life.
Can I just say something? We've been getting these ridiculous Bartolomeo faces, but let's not forget he cuts off people's tongues for no reason and kills people.
I was also going to say this. Am I the only one who's starting to really love Bartolomeo?
Oh, no, I love him. He's fantastic.
Oh, my God, he's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
I got to see Bartolomeo cosplayers at AX, and it was awesome.
Nice.
Oh,
You
sweet.
call that flying? That's falling with style.
Yes.
Indeed. So the three of them are going to Infinity and Beyond, and meanwhile, Leo is giving them directions. They're basically just going to hop across town, up Pika. It looks like, over his, well, not up Pika, but the body that he left behind, and then onto the many stepped surface of the new palace up to the flower field. And all I have to do is watch out for attacks from below, because obviously they are pretty vulnerable up in the air like that.
Yeah, especially since can Robin even use her power if she's using both hands?
That's a good question.
That's an interesting question. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. I have intelligence sometimes.
Well, I don't know. I think that's something that I don't think has been explored yet since the time skip. We don't know a whole lot of what Robin's been doing. And,
That's true.
And I think, she can clone herself now, sort of. So I feel like that's, maybe there's less limitations to her power now.
Yeah.
That's probably. I mean, Bartolomeo, who knows? And Rebecca doesn't really have any powers, so who knows with that. That'll be interesting. I'm interested in that.
And meanwhile, the other half of this page is just your weekly cameo recap of, these are all the other people that are still in this arc.
Which usually means something is coming. Usually. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, we'll see. The Tentatas apparently have found an idea of how to open up the factory. And
which Tantata is this? Do you remember?
In Hell.
Oh, you were good at
that
this.
guy's name.
I don't know. Yeah.
And basically, all they need is for Frankie to keep Senor Pink occupied, and they actually changed my original line for Frankie here was "I'm on top of it." As he's getting slammed onto the ground.
He's getting multiple German suplexes. I can't remember the name of the wrestler who is known for doing that. Anyone else watch wrestling? No.
Oh, sorry, Steve's not here this week.
Germans in a row, like the circuits, like the three.
Yeah, like 3 German suplexes in a row.
Yeah,
Something like
a lot of people. I don't know who. A lot of people do it now, but I don't know whose it is. But yes, I know what you're talking about. It's Zangief.
No, that's he does do it. It's a Zangief Super. All right.
Yeah. And on top of Pika's statue, Zoro is still fighting Pika.
I don't know if we've gotten a check-in on him, have we, up to this point?
This is the first point we've seen him since he basically stopped Pika and sent Luffy onward.
He's having way too much fun.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Zoro is engaged in a 2-week-long sword fight and loving it.
Yeah. I mean, well, if you think about it, like all he's been doing this arc is just running around this town in disguise and like escorting little Tentatas around. Like I'm sure he's just like, God damn it, this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah, and after watching Luffy fighting the Coliseum, he's like, I want to fight.
Oh yeah, he did do that. Yeah. Yeah, at least Zoro's getting a little something here. I know there's a lot of Zoro fans, so eventually in like 10 weeks, maybe we'll see what happened here.
Mm-hmm. And Sabo and Fujitora are still looking dramatic in town.
Yeah,
and,
really lighting it up.
Yeah, I'm wondering if
Jesus.
I'm wondering if that's just like still the aftermath of those meteor of fragments that came through the birdcage, but yeah, it looks bad.
I want to say it's a mix of both, like the flame fruit and the meteor rubble.
Yeah.
I
think that's correct to say. I don't think he'd continue using the meteors. But who knows? Admiral Magoo may return for a third adventure.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
And then on the next, we've got Luffy, who's now made it to the second step in the base of the palace. And what's this? Sexy lady on a horse? Oh, wait, never mind. Cavendish. Looks like a sexy lady.
Sexy dude on a horse.
And he's like, hey, Luffy, I got a plan. Luffy's like, go away, dude. Like, I'm going to kill people. And he's like, no, slow down a second. Hear me out. And then we cut to the top of the palace where we got Mingo, Dofi, and who's the other guy? I'm sorry.
Well, Mingo and Dofi are the same person.
Okay, give me the snot guy and the tall guy.
Treble and Diamante, yeah.
Okay, there we go. Flamingo's talking to Trouble and Diamante. They want to know where he sent the string joker, and he's like, you went to make a delivery, but I didn't even need to. By the way, let's take this moment in the middle of a battle to reminisce. Do you guys remember the first time we met Law? And basically, they're like, yeah, he was crazy. And Don Flamingo's like, yup, he was a lot like me. And then we are transported back in time to an intruder coming into the Smile Factory, it looks like. And he says, don't touch me, strapped with bombs. And there is a silhouette of a small child standing next to Doflamingo's throne, where Doflamingo asks, hey, who let this kid into our turf? Which is a pretty good fucking question because he's about a foot away from your throne. Like, are there no doorbells or like secretaries? Like,
sir, what are you doing coming in here with all of those grenades? Oh well, yeah. That's fine. Go right in, please.
just march right into the throne room, please. And basically, we see who I'm sure the Chibi world has been dying for: little baby Trafalgar Law, not baby, but teenaged Law. And he says, I want to destroy everything I see. And everyone's like, wait, who is this? And he's like, towns, houses, people. I want to destroy it all. And then something weird happens. He says, I was raised in a white town, to which no one knows what he's talking about, including myself. Guys, next week in One Piece, race war.
I thought we had that in Fishman Island already.
You're right. No, he says, I was raised in a white town, and they're about to say, like, I don't know what that means. And Law says, I don't have much longer to live. So clearly we find out, like, clearly Baby Law is a psychopath.
Yeah.
That's not that surprising.
He's seen some shit, definitely.
Who's seen some shit and doesn't have that much longer to live. And I don't know, I'm just, does this... I don't know. What do you guys think of? Because that's a pretty big reveal on something we knew nothing about, right? Law's past.
Well, we had the SBS. How long ago was that now? couple years
Yeah.
ago, where we saw a very, very, very slight glimpse of, I guess that was the supernovas, that one. And all we know is that he was holding a frog with a scalpel. But that's the only glimpse we've had of Law, and that who knows what that means. I don't know. Steven, I'll start with you since you haven't seen the next one, right?
Yes.
No, I haven't.
No.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I'm assuming that is like a designation. I don't know what, in particular, the importance of the term white is. If like what it stands for has anything to do with the color. Or if it, maybe because when he says he doesn't have much longer to live, that's coming right after he says, I was raised in a white town. So you would assume they're related. Like something about living in a white town means that, life is short. And
maybe it's marked by the government or something as
right. I wonder if it's like this is like a place that is like it's a place where it's legal for them to take slaves, or it's like a testing ground, or
I'm gonna swing out on a giant limb here, gentlemen. Ready?
Go
What if
for it.
what if a white town is like a quarantine zone or like a plague town, basically? And what? And this is a real A to C connection. But what if they were all born with like really bad heart conditions, and that's why they're the heart pirates? And what if they're just ticking time bombs, born to die in those white towns almost?
You see, I thought he was the Heart Pirates. I thought was more related to Corazon, since we know that he's very connected to him.
Well, fair enough.
But I like the idea though of a quarantine town. That I like.
Yeah, I like the cut. I like the cut of your jib there.
All right, fair enough.
I feel like that could be it. Either way, like Law's he doesn't have much longer to live, and I feel like White Town could either mean like that, something like that, or similar to what Steven was saying, it could be marked like they allow slaves there. Like it could have been the government, like the Celestial Dragons. Like he could have been a slave. He could have I don't know. What was the thing with the slaves? They had the bomb collars, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering if maybe I couldn't remember if it was bomb collars or they had like a bomb implanted in them or something.
I don't know. I really like Matt's idea specifically because he is a doctor, although he is the surgeon of death.
Yeah. Well, this brings me to the other thing I was thinking, which kind of makes sense. That his power was given to him by Doflamingo, or Corazon, rather, like his op fruit.
Yeah.
That way he could operate on himself, get whatever was ailing him out of his body, and then after that he owes his life to whoever gave him that fruit.
Corazon, we're assuming, right?
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, definitely.
What is the Steve? What's the sound effect in that last panel? Is it just Law straining in pain?
No, that's just background noise because they're in the middle of the brawl.
I was curious if that had anything to do with what he just said. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The other thing I want to point out here on this page, there's another kind of interesting note, which is on the first half when you see Doflamingo and he says, I was going to make a delivery, and he's flipping the key up and down, and that makes me wonder. You assume that obviously that must be one of a duplicate key to Law's cuffs. Which makes me wonder, like, was he basically going to kind of give Law an ultimatum, like, hey, this is your last chance. I'll set you free if you come back to the fold kind of thing?
Yeah.
Or what?
And now he's just given up on him once he saw him with Luffy, basically.
Right. And when he sort of confronted him about that, and he was saying, like, hey, look, Luffy, this guy's an idiot. What are you doing with him? I thought you were smarter than that. And then he was like, no, I've been saved. I was saved. And so maybe that was like the point where Doflamingo was like, okay, well, he's not coming back. And that's why
I have one more general question. How do these kids' heads not get any bigger? How are they all still wearing the same hats from when they were like 10 years old? That's just a real general question.
It's the same reason why the Hulk's pants can stretch.
Fair enough.
Well,
gamma radiation.
He did change around the hat a little bit from pre-time skip to post-time skip.
Yeah, I guess that's true because now his hat is actually a brim, and it looks like in that drawing of the kid, it's like a full all the way around.
Which it was when
he was introduced. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he just keeps buying the same brand.
Yeah.
He just really likes
He's
Kangol.
loyal.
It's like,
Loyal customer.
I'm so happy you said Kangol. I was gonna go no fear.
it's like Indiana Jones. He has multiple fedora hats. Yeah.
I mean, Luffy had the straw hat from way before, and it does look big on Law here. I mean, it looks like the ridiculous sized one that we sometimes see from Oda drawing Luffy's hat, with the bubble. I don't know how to describe it, if you know what I mean. But I don't know. We could talk about his hat all day. So
I'd like to bring up something. As someone who has cosplayed Doflamingo in the past and noticing just the small differences between his time skip outfit and pre-time skip stuff, in this little flashback, what's up with Doflamingo's hair? Why does it look like he's going Super Saiyan? It looks so much taller than it should be.
I don't know if it's Doflamingo or not.
That's what I think.
I wasn't
like,
sure if
what
it was
if it's not?
Yeah.
And also because those glasses that he's wearing in that flashback frame, he doesn't have those in the past. We see him with those. They
The
point.
goggles?
Yeah, the glasses that he has in the pre-time skip, they have rounded parts near the nose, and he only started the pointy parts near the nose and eyes. Post
that might be a mistake too.
This also might be a ridiculous question, but could that be Corazon?
That's what I'm
That's
thinking.
what I was thinking too, because
It could be.
when we saw the stylized image of Corazon back then, he had crazier hair than Doflamingo.
I don't think it is, only because we see 3 silhouettes behind Doflamingo there, and it's clearly Pika, Diamante, and
Probably
Treble.
Treble. Yeah.
Although
Well, you definitely see Treble there on the left.
that's
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
see, that's true, but I don't know. I have a crazy theory that Doflamingo has usurped Corazon's identity. If that makes any sense.
Well, the other thing is also we're kind of going in a flashback of Doflamingo's, it kind of looks like here, because he's like, oh, remember that stupid kid with the
And I feel like we're so close to flashbacks that it's almost pointless to keep throwing out
True.
a wacky.
Don't we want to
wacky,
be right though, guys?
It's
If we say everything, one of them will be correct.
Exactly.
yeah, but that's basically why I think that Doflamingo's pirate mark is so close to Heart Pirates. It has that slash through it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Law took over Corazon's pirate crew. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it also makes sense.
Well, yeah. I mean, if Doflamingo killed Corazon, then he'd be like, all right, screw this. We're out of here. I'm taking all the guys with me. No, we're not going to follow you anymore, sort of thing.
Guys, as long as we see more Beppo, I'll be a happy man.
I think that's likely. I think if we're getting a full flashback here.
Oh, I want flashback Beppo so badly.
I kind of hope we actually do get a flashback finally for Law and Doflamingo. It's been too long, and I kind of want to just know what's up.
I'm gonna take a leap and say I am like 90% sure it's gonna happen in the next chapter, because I mean at this point come on, you can't keep teasing us like this, Oda. You have the grayscale going into flashback kind of thing. What's gonna happen next week? I mean 2 weeks from now, because we're off, just to tease you a little bit more.
Here's another quick question. I'm sorry, but how many other than like Sabo and other characters who grew up with Luffy, how many extensive flashbacks have we seen? And if this is an extensive flashback, does this lead to the idea that Law is going to be the new crew member?
I always thought he'd be an ally more than a crew member.
Okay. I wanted so badly, guys. I'm sorry.
No, it makes sense. I mean, we did get it confirmed this week that Oda does plan on adding more members to the crew, or in the vague way he put it, which is not that.
In the next 10 years.
Yeah, he's got 10 years. Yeah, but we also we've seen extended flashbacks. What was it for Noland back in Skypiea?
The Kyros, Rebecca.
I don't know if that was extended.
I think this will be longer.
Yeah, and this will be longer. Yeah,
it's true. Yeah. Oh, extensive. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Norland and Calgra was like a volume.
I think that was almost the full volume. Yeah. And those were two characters who.
Chapters.
Yeah.
Those are two characters who have been dead for like 500 years. So neither of them are joining the crew, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Vivi did have a few. They were like sparse.
But she's technically a crew member. I know.
I don't know. She's not. She's not really a crew
member. That's the case. So is Karu, and that makes me happy also.
I don't know. That's debatable.
Well, I guess she's a crew member in the way like
Jinbei's a crew
in the way Jinbei is, and Mary. I mean, there's that like second tier crew member.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so thoughts on the chapter overall. I mean, we've been talking about predictions this entire time. Steven, do you want to start?
Sure. Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked the definitely the kind of the bookend stuff. At the front and the back with Doflamingo were pretty interesting, and obviously getting to kind of the heart of the matter of almost this entire arc is what happened between Law and Doflamingo, because that is so much of this, it kind of ties back to that, and everything else I think was just sort of kind of playing connect the dots, helping Luffy get closer, helping the other the other folks get closer to where everything is going to meet up and converge. And other than that, it was not a ton of forward movement. But I think if this does lead into the flashback, I'm definitely more than ready for it.
Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I like the issue. I love the ending because Law has always been one of my favorite characters in general, and anything Law-centric, especially finding out Law's origin, excites me. It was, other than that, it was kind of fillerish. I get worried anytime he starts listing maps of levels, you guys, because I just flash back to Impel Down, and I'm like, oh my God, how many more? You know what I mean? So when they start doing like level 2 of the well, level 3 of the well, level 2 of the palace, I gotta start going, oh no, we're in for the long haul. So hopefully this flashback takes us a while before we have to get back into the monotonous pace of getting up a hill. They could take 2 years in One Piece time.
Well, if the flashback lasts as long as you say, it probably will be 2 years before we get to the top of that hill. Dude.
Yeah, I liked the chapter. Curious to see where it goes. I think a lot kind of did happen. We got to see where everybody's at, and usually when we see where everybody's at, that usually is the indicator that we have a flashback coming. That way everybody's kind of up to speed, and then we can kind of move on to something very nearly completely different, but also something that is still related to what's going on.
And Dennis.
I'm just going to say I didn't like it because of a small caveat. Like, there were some really great moments in this chapter, but ending it right here, we're on the cusp of getting some sort of resolution, and the highly anticipated Law flashback just to have a break next week. It's like, oh, why? Can I just go into a self-induced coma for 2 weeks while still getting paid for work and then wake up when the next chapter is? That'd be awesome. But alas, we have to wait for 2 weeks for this. So yeah.
Okay, so I think that concludes everything for this week, right? Or for this chapter. Why don't we get into the next segment, guys?
All right.
Sure.
This is a special Anime Expo recap, and for some reason, not related to Anime Expo at all, we have a very special guest with us. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, guys. It's me. You probably don't remember my voice. It's Ed.
Oh, I thought.
Oh, Ed.
Yes.
Oh, Ed.
That joke. That joke.
That's what I've missed.
That specifically.
Is that you, Jammer?
Hi, guys. Jammer. Straight from California. That's why I'm on this segment.
Jammer was an at Anime Expo this year.
I know. I followed Steve on Twitter.
So, Ed, how has everything been going there? I guess a quick checkup is in order.
I woke up and it was July, so I'm here. I'm alive. I went outside and it went from being 70 degrees and then it was 95 degrees, and I don't know when that happened.
Oh, I relate.
Summer in the city.
Yeah. I sat in a room for 6 hours doing nothing but answering questions today.
But yeah.
It was very zen.
You could call it that. Maybe that's why you do so much better at multiple choice than me. You find a zen in it, apparently.
It's
I find it to be
it's
some
like a
sort
sensory deprivation tank.
That's what I was going to say. It's like some sort of torture device to me. We did
Especially when I live in when I go to class and do my questions in basically like a nuclear bunker deep underground like I Street.
I think I told you, just to end one last thing in this brief tangent. We took the test at the Javits Center, which for those who have gone to New York Comic Con, you know the Javits Center. There's this whole underground part of the Javits Center, which most of the New York, it's where all the panels take place, but they open it up into this huge room, and it sounds like 1984. You're all taking the test at the same time, so it's pin could drop, anyone could hear it, you could hear anything, and then over the loudspeaker, like after 2 hours, you hear 15 minutes left, and it's just out of these really crappy loudspeakers. It was fucking creepy. So yes, it's like a sensory.
Well, at least you didn't have to go all the way to bumblefuck Roanoke, Virginia.
How do you know I didn't have to? Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, we're here to talk about Anime Expo.
Anime.
Do you remember what that is, Ed?
Yes, I do.
I think it's
I
something
may have
to do with.
watched an episode of it last week because I got a new cable service and it's pretty good.
I was going to ask if it had something to do with contract law, but fine. So, Dennis and Steven, you guys were at Anime Expo this weekend. Do you guys want to talk about it?
Sure, talk a little bit about it.
Simultaneously, please, though.
Yes.
Okay. So,
yeah, and
oh, when you're trying to do it simultaneously, it just doesn't work. Dennis, you could start.
yeah.
sure. For Anime Expo, Friday was the very big day to do anything actually One Piece related. That's not saying the rest of the days had stuff too. Within the exhibit hall itself, Viz had these like reproduction prints of a 2-page manga spread that they were advertising for One Piece, and it was actually pretty cheap, only like $15. I saw there's an actual Japanese yen price tag on the back of 952 yen. But here's the thing, they're limited to, well, there's only 99 of those, and Viz was only selling 50 of them, and they had to limit it to 15 each day. Wow. So those sold out super quick.
And both you and Steve got one, right?
We managed to get one, yeah. Steve, luckily being at Artist Alley, means that he has access to the exhibit hall just as or right before the doors open, since he has to set up. So that's how I believe he was able to get his.
Sprinting there from...
Pretty much, yeah. And for me, like, I got there early on Friday and managed to somehow not only have, because I was working with Viz for stuff for Anime Expo, but they were able to have one there for me before before they all sold out. I'm like, there's the one that's being held for me. Great. And pick mine up, and then 5 minutes after I get mine, we're all done. We're all gone. They're all sold out. So, or at least for the day.
There seemed to be a lot of One Piece stuff in the dealers.
There was some cool things. I mean, there's all the all the POPs and the other figures and like mouse pad stickers, shirts, yeah, whatever. Viz had
which kind of mouse pads? I mean,
the booby mouse pads.
Okay, good.
Viz
they
also
added new
had
characters to that, or just
no,
the same...
that's the same ones.
Now they're all male characters that have that.
If you saw Alexi's Twitter account, he saw some, and they must have been I think they were American made, but it was male superheroes like Captain America,
Thor.
What about Rob Liefeld version of Captain America with the
it was like very sensual looking, and they just had the boobies.
Yeah,
that seems right.
I feel like if they were actually going to make a Liefeld mouse pad, you'd need the booby cushion, but also like several pockets that are attached to the mouse pad.
Yes.
Just a lot of pouches underneath to hold your random desk shit. Yeah.
This one's for paper clips.
Viz has also brought back their tote bags that they haven't had for a while, and the One Piece Naruto ones were gone earliest. They still had a bunch of the rest of the ones, like the Sailor Moon, Ranma. I can't remember the other ones that were important, but yeah. One Piece Naruto one sold out quick. The Toei booth was the best one to go to, and they had a bunch of stuff that I didn't even realize were there. They had inflatable pieces of meat on a bone, which explained why there were so many of those props at the One Piece gathering. I was like, where the hell is everyone getting these?
Yeah.
goddamn Toei booth. Why didn't I think of it being there? They had stuff like barrel mugs. Honestly, the prints and the random stuff that Toei brought were probably the highlights for any type of One Piece fan looking for stuff that's not typical to get.
And what do you think the turnout was, at least for One Piece fans? I know the turnout for Anime Expo was exponentially larger, but I asked Steve this, but I want to know your guys' thoughts on that.
Turnout for the fans was huge. Steve, since you were in the panel for the actual One Piece thing, and you could actually see the crowd, how did it look on your end?
It was hard to tell. The thing is that room was absolutely enormous, and they also, like, they were clearly having logistical issues with getting people in and out. Like, we were just sitting there kind of waiting in the empty room for quite a while.
And wouldn't it be better when they tear down half the convention center?
Oh, I forgot they're doing that.
Yeah, and so, like, they were just had people trickling in for like 15 minutes while we were waiting to start, because it was like, okay, well, when is this going to run out? So I don't know. It looked like it was maybe half full or slightly less, but it was still a lot of people.
So I think that seats over 1,000. So we had
several
600 to 800 people in that room. Crazy.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a good transition. Stephen, how was it sitting on a panel with that group of people for the One Piece industry panel?
But it was pretty cool. And actually, it almost did not happen because I drove up from San Diego for Friday for the the panels and all the good stuff. And we got to LA and basically parked and like on the street and got some lunch before going in. And so we finally parked at the Staples Center at, I want to say, like 3:00 or so. And I was supposed to meet up with the Shonen Jump guys at around 3:30. And so I get in there and I have the the printout that I got through the podcast. And I just figured, oh, this is going to be like Comic-Con, where, there's going to be a separate line for the the press and panel folks, and it'll be real short, and I can just pick that up and run over there, and hopefully I won't be too late. And then I got there and they're like, oh, this is just a regular 4-day pass, so you have to wait in that line outside where all the people are. And I was like, oh, well, I have to, even if I'm late to this planning meeting, I have to be at this panel at 4:30. And so fortunately, like, the people at the information desk were super cool, and they were just like, oh, you need to be on a panel? Okay, hang on, I'll just print it out right here. So I got to skip all of that because for like 2 minutes,
you are lucky.
Yeah, for like 2 minutes, I thought I was.
That's the key. Show up late for your panel. They'll let you in.
Right. So apparently, yeah.
So next time all of you folks have a panel out there, make sure you show up late.
Don't
give them that idea. There's already a lot of shitty panels.
That's a good point. Okay.
So that ended up working out, fortunately, the timing, and it was pretty cool. I got to meet up with, obviously I've met Alexi before, and I met Urian and Andy, the editor-in-chief, and I did meet Sasaki as well, although I feel terrible. Like, I really wanted, just while we were kind of having downtime, to just talk to Sasaki for a second, just be like, hey, Sasaki-san, Greg Warner, he's a big friend of mine, and we could chat. And Sasaki was so blessed. He was like completely out of it, jet lagged. Like, he was doing the zombie eye thing where he was like sitting there and his eyes were rolling back while he was falling asleep. And
that was what I got when I met him.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine, and so I was like, okay, well, I'll talk to him after the panel, maybe, and then, of course, after the panel, like, I was answering questions, and then everybody was gone.
He should have grabbed an energy drink. He didn't. He stopped by the cart and took pictures, and he didn't bother taking one of the drinks.
Well, yeah, I think he knows. He totally knows that hockey can't be replenished.
No, they were trying to give him Urian, I think, was trying to give him. Recommend he take an energy drink, and he was like, no, it just wouldn't sit well with his stomach. But but anyways, the panel itself, it was pretty cool. I think there was definitely I don't know how much you guys went over this stuff on your post-con recording, Dennis.
We didn't do that much because we wanted the audience panel to get. But like most of the news is out there already. Like I was live tweeting the panel. Dominic.
Yeah, Dennis,
was
you got
live
sourced.
tweeting.
You got sourced in some articles.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, Dominic was live tweeting as well. So
on the podcast account.
Yeah, on the podcast account.
Yeah.
So we. Conjunction together got most of the news from the panel out there.
Yeah, so as you saw, pretty much the Film Z trailer and the season 6 trailer, I think that was like kind of the big actual news that came out. Mostly it was just kind of going over stuff that we've covered on the podcast, but I'm sure a lot of people have not heard things like Sasaki talking about Oda's work and sleep habits.
Well, we'll have the whole panel on.
Yeah.
So we'll save
you'll
surprise
hear
people,
right?
If you haven't.
I would say it was cool to be there. I got to meet Josh for the first time, and that was when I got to see Steve for the first time because we didn't have time to meet up before the panel, and it was definitely an honor. I think. It's particularly compared to the actual podcast panel, it was an industry panel. There were a lot of different people kind of representing different interests, and there was a little bit of a feeling of kind of like too many cooks stirring the broth. Like it was sort of split up into each people had their own segments. Although we did get some good, sort of questions for all of the members, like who was your favorite, straw hat and stuff like that, where we actually got to sort of chat about stuff. But aside from that, it was just really cool to be there at an official panel, just knowing that it's been so long since there was anything like that at a major anime convention.
Yeah, for One Piece, it's been I think 08 or 07 was the last time anything like that.
07 when Funimation was like, "Hey, we got the rights."
Yeah, that was a pretty big time. So since we talked about it a little, why don't we talk about those trailers? Let's start with the Z trailer. Ed, you just got to watch it if you're there.
Yeah.
What did you think? You just saw it for the first time.
That was really well done. They actually didn't put too much, bad music throughout the whole thing, which I have a tendency to do.
Yes.
The music is still going to be there.
Yeah.
You know what we're talking about.
But no, the movie looks really good, and it's just as I imagine, hearing it in English would sound when I listened to it in Japanese. So that's all you can really ask from a dub. And who does the voice for Zed?
I'll go through the full cast in a minute.
Okay.
Cast list was announced.
He sounds quite good. The other guy, I didn't.
They're mostly unknowns. I'll say that right now.
Well, the other ones didn't. The other ones didn't stand out. So.
When Steve saw it, he's like, "Who are these people?" Like even Steve.
That's how you know that it's obscure.
Yeah. We'll go through the list after everyone gives quick thoughts, though. Dennis.
Oh, being there, seeing it with the rest of the crowd, just a lot of really great hype and reaction for it. It coming out in September, so close, it's you can almost taste it. It's like it's almost here already. I can't wait to have it in my hands to watch it. Because I actually haven't seen like Film Z, so I'm really excited to actually get it. Everyone in the audience, including me, just really, really can't wait for this movie. We're all surprised that. Well, I guess I'm not surprised it's coming out so soon, but a lot of people were like, September 1? Oh my god! No one, yeah,
Well, we're a lot more. Exactly.
Didn't this movie come out like a year and a half ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's still a while.
Well, it was announced on this podcast that it was coming out September 30th, and that's what's important. So, as Dennis said, listen to the One Piece podcast. Sorry, I feel like I'm shilling for something. Steven.
Sold out to yourself, man. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it was definitely cool. I don't, I have not seen a lot of Funimation trailers for stuff. I've picked up the collection sets, but I'm not as in tune with all of the kind of promotional stuff that they have done. But I do agree, it was definitely a really good job at kind of showing off the atmosphere of the movie. As Ed said, the kind of dramatic use or lack of music, particularly in the beginning.
There's one moment in particular, about halfway through the trailer, where Zed is yelling something at Luffy, and there's music going on in the background, and they stop the music right as he makes his point. That's some good editing right there.
Yeah. It was very well put together, and I think it was definitely, achieves the purpose of kind of being tantalizing and just making you want to go get it.
Dude.
Yeah. Wow. I'm really, really, really pleased with how that turned out. It doesn't give away a whole lot. It's kind of action packed. It kind of hooks you. Plus, I really like Zed's voice. From what we've heard, he has a kind of a cool, like, Southern accent, and the voice really fits him. And I liked how they put a lot of emphasis on the sound of his arm in the trailer. They kind of close off the trailer with that really iconic sound, and that was really cool too. I'm really excited.
I don't know if we've talked about it, but I'm very excited to hear. I'll just put it this way: the song in English.
Yeah, I'm curious. What they're going to do.
I'm curious how that's gonna work.
Oh man, I'm really stoked for that too.
That'll be like the first translated. It has to be translated. The translated song in I assume in a while from the.
They translated Family, but that was before the.
I was going to say it's before. Yeah. Let me just go through the list of people. Stop me if you have heard of them or anything. Jeremy Schwartz is who is playing Z. I thought he did an amazing job from what I have heard so far. That's a perfect voice.
He doesn't have an entry on ANN aside from Film Z, so this is his. This might be his first role.
So this is what One Piece does at Funimation,
And then if you want to go back to the beginning here, Lauren Londa is Ein, A being...
Yeah, she's got, and her resume includes stuff like Ikitosa, and I think stuff that ADR, or ADV, I'm sorry, used to dub. So she seems like she's somewhat of a veteran.
Matthew Mercer, who is very much a veteran. He's in a lot. You could look him up if you'd like. Kizaru, and here are the more important additions here, is played by Ray Hurd. This one, I think Steve drew a blank at.
So nobody's heard of him?
Nope.
He has 3 entries on Anime News Network. He's got credits in Fairy Tail, Carnival with a K.
Of course, Carnival with a K.
Yeah.
Is that an anime or?
It looks like it's an anime, yeah.
Okay.
And Film Z, so. Yeah.
Andrew Love is, I think he's reprising his role as Sakazuki. Jason Douglas is back as Aokiji. Brian Mathis is Garp. Ed Blaylock, thank the Lord, is back as Sengoku. Mark Fickard as Mobston. I don't even remember who that character was. Mika.
Do you remember in the movie the family of people that gave them the weapons?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Micah Solazad is back. I think he's back as Kobe. Yeah, I think since the...
That was Leah Clark originally.
Yeah, since his time skip, since Kobe's very specific time skip, I think Micah Solazad has been playing him, which is a very fitting voice for him. Helmeppo, Mike McFarland is back playing that. That was originally... Who was that again? I'm going to get killed by Steve, who's listening to this. It is someone who has moved on to California. I just forget which one.
Troy Baker.
Troy Baker, thank you.
Who is in a lot of stuff now. Holy crap.
God. Yeah, he is...
He's the new de facto voice for the Joker, I think.
Yeah, I think that's... I know I've heard... They have a... I think it's Rob Paulson's podcast. They had Troy Baker, I think, on that. He's in the big leagues now. He can't be coming back to do Helmeppo, which I think we're all okay with that. Julie Erickson is playing Suru. Tia Ballard is playing the young Z. Angela Chase is Purin. Daryl Roberts is Keebeen. And it is going to be directed by Joel McDonald, and the ADR engineer is Peter Hawkinson. That's the full list. I think we've talked about this. I would really love to have Joel McDonald on. I'm hoping maybe a little bit closer to the release would probably work. Yeah, I think that's all for Film Z. You guys also got a chance to see the Season 6 trailer. What did you guys think of that?
Some familiar music there.
Yes.
Looking forward to it a little bit.
They do a good job of not spoiling too much visually. They take just about everything from the first episode or two, and I'm not sure if it works a lot. I mean, for people who have been into One Piece and probably know about it, it's a good teaser for people who know what's coming. But I mean, just the fact of a skeleton is pretty interesting. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I don't know. It sort of doesn't really hint at the bigger mystery in Thriller Bark. But
Well, there's a lot of those. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it is Thriller Bark.
Definitely got a good laugh when he showed off he got a good rise out of the audience when they showed off the Brook laugh.
Oh my god, yeah, he nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ian Sinclair, I'm really looking forward to what he does in season 6. I think that's why a lot of people have been very impatient for it, because we just want to see that. And of course, I agree. I do just want to see that. Any other thoughts? Cool.
They also revealed, like the cover art and stuff, which is kind of de facto for what we figured it would look like.
Well, it looks a lot like the the first Thriller Bark volume. It's modeled after that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's volume 46, Zach.
Thank you.
With the one with the Brook doffing his hat and laughing.
Yeah, with Luffy running away smiling.
That's
from
volume,
the page,
volume 46. Everybody, pick it up from Viz.
So what else happened at AX of note?
They announced Collection 10 coming at the same time, so September, man. Get your wallets ready for One Piece home releases.
Yeah, that's going to hurt. The wallet, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
So we also had the One Piece podcast panel, which we'll go through in next week's episode. OPP Japan.
Just
yeah, go ahead.
Small thoughts in general for the One Piece panel. There was a lot of energy in the audience that we've had.
Yeah.
Like
Really? That's great.
It almost got a little bit rowdy. I was like, what the hell is going on?
They put us in that amphitheater. It was like a lecture hall thing where the seats were all, stacked.
Stadium.
Yeah, exactly.
We've been in there
And
before.
so-
I can't remember how long ago. But I do remember having that back screen. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
How many people were there?
I mean, it was pretty much. It was not that big of a room.
I think it seats probably like 150 to 200.
Yeah, and it was mostly full. But yeah, it was very high energy. There was one group. What was it? Like One Piece Las Vegas or something. There was a cosplay group that came in like as the entire crew, and they, like, pardon my French, but they were the rowdiest motherfuckers I've ever seen. They were so into it, and they were raising the main panel as well.
And you got to remember,
yeah,
this is half the people in the audience attended the One Piece industry panel too, so they're all still coming off that major high of like, oh, this panel was so awesome, I can't wait for more One Piece talk. Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was that I've been on, I don't know, probably a dozen panels. I wouldn't call myself a veteran, but that was definitely the most fun I've ever had on a panel.
Sweet.
Steve
was great as taking charge of hosting that panel too.
Steve's taken charge of hosting ever since day one.
Well, day 3, pretty early on. Yeah,
that's true.
Ed, you and I tried, but Steve really knows what he's doing when he's up there. That's your best part. So.
Yeah, he really worked the crowd. It was just people were really into it. A lot of jokes flying and just lots of laughs. We got lots of really great questions, and I feel like because there was so much energy that all of us, even aside from Steve, Dennis, me, and Kate and Dominic, we didn't really have to feel like, oh, I kind of want to say this, but I don't know if it's going to go over well. We were just kind of popping off all sorts of ideas and, just lots of really good discussion. It felt like, especially once we got into, the manga discussion, we were just having a live, piece together segment and people were just throwing their best ideas at us. And, I think if you listen to that next week, the recording, you'll see that it was definitely a good time.
I think the only downfall is we didn't have any time at all to do any type of trivia prize giveaway thing. We're like, oh
yeah.
If only maybe we can get an hour and a half panel. Come on, AX, let's have that.
Yeah.
I'll apply next year for an hour and a half. I only applied for an hour because we usually only need an hour.
You forgot that everything at Anime Expo is behind schedule.
That's true. Next year I'll apply for 4 hours. That should cover us.
Sweet.
We can totally fill that.
I do want to apologize for people who showed up to OPP Japan, but literally the forces of nature were against us in getting that out. And I'm not going to go through the whole story because it's boring, but
I think that Anime Expo's gear is not handled to work with Mac format stuff.
Yes, the PlayStation 3 does not support Apple movies. Well,
that's really odd because it supports MP4s.
it does not support MOVs.
But
It's a long story. I'm not getting into that. It's just gonna
and Steve, like, right as we
Yes.
sat down before the podcast panel, and we were just sort of chatting before people started filing in. Steve was like, oh man, we're just having all sorts. Everything is going wrong that could possibly go on from a technical standpoint and getting this, and he just felt awful about it. That we were having so much trouble. So
that was my weekend as well. We were just trying to get me and Jose and Steve and Dominic and Dennis, and Jammer and Josh even from Funimation was willing to help. We all were trying to get that playing, but we got the people's names who were there, and hopefully we could give them something, or show them something early. Or something.
Maybe there'll be like, I don't know, some type of special online streaming.
I don't want to promise
maybe.
anything because I have to talk with Jose and I had a brief discussion over what we would be able to show. I don't know. We'll try and figure something cool out for them that's exclusive in some way or form. Because I feel really, really, really bad for that about that. I think I don't want to end on a sour note. I guess general thoughts on Anime Expo then.
it was a lot of fun. It was kind of a whirlwind for me because I came up in the mid-afternoon and then left as soon as everything was done. So it was definitely a long day for me. I'm sure does not compare at all to Dennis's 4-day excursion, but it was just a whirlwind of One Piece excitement, and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Steve's still there. He doesn't know the convention's over. Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind.
California.
I guess that is required to say.
I just want to thank all the One Piece fans who showed up for both, like getting the stuff from Viz's booth, getting all the stuff from Toei's booth, going to the gathering, finding me at the garden and getting some of the energy drinks, going to both those panels. Just an entire all-out awesome weekend for all One Piece fans, and that's with giant things like the premiere of Sailor Moon, the premiere of the JoJo dub, all the Kill la Kill fan events that are going on. And there's just a lot to do, and it can be overwhelming, and it doesn't help that it's summer in LA and registration still has you wait outside, prepare yourself if you are thinking of going. Try to get there early, bring lots of water and lots of cash, because there's lots of places, there are lots of food trucks around, so you can nourish yourself and keep yourself from passing out from not having a good diet or overeating or under eating. And one last thing I forgot to mention.
Enjoy your $10 corn dogs.
One last thing I forgot to mention. It seems that Viz was pretty happy with how the demand for that One Piece print was going, and it seems that they might want to do something like that again in the future. I don't know which convention it'll happen.
Probably a West Coast one.
No, who knows? They go to East Coast ones too. Like they went
to Otakon once, I think.
Yeah, they went to New York Comic Con last year.
Comic-Con, that's true.
And I think.
You want to go to New York Comic Con and Otakon? Because they're the only two massive cons on the East Coast like that.
True, yeah.
I mean, Anime Expo is actually the third largest con in the country now, behind San Diego and New York.
Yeah. Anyway, go on.
But it might not be the same print either. It might be a different one. So gotta collect all of this, I guess.
Yeah, and oddly enough, this is just a observation I had, but after the One Piece, and obviously this is a huge year for Sailor Moon, like Dennis mentioned, and JoJo as well. Like I didn't really see a lot of Attack on Titan. Like not many people with the uniforms and all that stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's just because they're in between seasons, but it definitely felt like a very One Piece and Sailor Moon and JoJo centric year this year.
That's pretty awesome. I support all of those series.
I will say something else too. With the increase of like the Sailor Moon and things like that, a lot less Homestuck this year. Pretty good.
Also good. I apologize to those listening.
I apologize too. I'm not a big Homestuck fan, but it was nice knowing that the biggest cosplay gatherings were not Homestuck. So
I didn't realize the characters were different people.
Why don't we round off the segment?
Like, why are all these people dressed as the same person?
I didn't know what Homestuck was until like conventions ago. So thanks, anime conventions.
Next week, remember the full panels. So if you haven't got enough AX, there's tons more to come. Why don't we get into the next segment for now? Ready?
Okay.
Right.
okay.
Today's episode of the One Piece Podcast is sponsored by Kolektakon, your source for One Piece Mega House merchandise. You can visit them at kolektakon.com/onepiece. And with us to talk about figures they like, we have Stephen, Ed, Dude, and Dennis.
Yes. Man, some of these figures. I mean, I have one Portrait of Pirates, but it's a pretty simple one. It's like the original Sanji Portrait of Pirates.
Yes.
But
They've got
some
it
of the
more
ones I'm looking at on
complicated.
here, they have stepped up their game here. Especially, I was looking at the Rob Lucci one, the sort of him in the crouch position like that. Really awesome, and also the Zoro one from One Piece Film Z, and I believe both of those are either in stock or for pre-order. So I think those are actually both in stock. You can buy them now.
Any other things people want or like?
The Bartolomeo one is pretty impressive, although I don't know if I can hang with the alternate head with the tongue hanging out.
Yeah.
That looks horrifying.
Yeah. I want the more current faces.
I see they've made sure to give Bartolomeo a fly in his pants.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like Goku. Goku's
It's a
got the
plot.
same
It's at least
Yeah,
they're,
it's
at
a
least
plot
they're paying
device.
attention to the
Yeah,
plot.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh my god.
You know, they have enough dirty figures for female characters out there. Like, you'd figure they could at least, have like a detachable extra
no.
for
Oh
Bartolomeo.
no.
No.
Have you seen the old Frankie? It has like a package. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And speaking of packages, I'll tell you, if I were to get a package in the mail from this site, it'd probably be the One Piece Sailing Again Trafalgar Law version 2 POP, because he's wearing that cool coat. It says Corazon on the back. That's attention to detail. Yep, and he's only $84.95 to pre-order. That's crazy.
That's some package.
He
It
does
is
not
some
have a
package.
new hat.
No, he does not. He has no Malibu Stacy.
He has a mustache though.
Dennis.
Does that must.
Mine were all said already. So
Okay. Great.
The Mihawk is pretty awesome as well, right at the top. The Neo DX Dracula Mihawk. Probably not anything you haven't seen before because he's been around forever, but it is pretty awesome looking.
And those are all available for pre-order now, so pick those up. And cheaper than you can find it anywhere else. As Steve would like to remind you, at conventions they're like twice as much. So go for it.
The only ones that cheap at conventions are fake.
Yeah, we learned that the hard way.
or unpopular, like Ben Beckman.
No. It's an anime convention. Every character is popular to somebody.
Not Ben Beckman. Anyway,
And that's coming from someone who likes that character.
Yeah,
Like,
I
his
do
POP
too.
is dumb. I don't know why you have this.
so you can check out non-Ben Beckman POPs at kolektakon.com/onepiece. Why don't we get back into the show before we,
All right.
Talk more about Ben Beckman? This is the Toonami recap for episode 263, Clash, Demon Slasher Zoro versus Ship Slasher T-Bone. That is not a tongue twister at all. I don't know what you're talking about. Jose, nice to have you on for this segment again.
Thanks for having me on.
We also have Ed,
Yes.
who is, as we said earlier, stepping out of his hiatus very briefly.
Special appearance.
So, Jose, you want to run us through how One Piece has been doing?
Sure. Let's go through the ratings very quickly for June 29th. One Piece at 1:30 a.m. did 597,000 people. Now, keep in mind that's in total, but I believe it did rank number one in its time slot among its demographic of 18 to 24 and 18 to 34 adults, and 18 to 24 and 18 to 34 men. So, yes, the total number is small, but it's 1:30
The
in the
cops
morning
don't seem that happy about it. So,
it's 1:30 in the morning on a Saturday, but we're still number one in our demographics, so please keep that in mind.
yeah. And what about trending?
Trending, we did this past 4th of July weekend. One Piece trended in the U.S., and it also trended on the mobile apps. But if I may send a shout out real quick.
Yeah, please.
The big trending thing this weekend was Space Dandy.
And Emo Dandy.
And Emo Dandy.
And QT.
Everything basically from Space Dandy trended. There was a 129% increase in popularity when it came on, and then Emo Dandy, of course. There was like a ton of trends. Apparently, Alexis Tipton had the most impact towards trending Emo Dandy. So
good,
and she plays Honey on the show.
So I think it's time we get into this episode of Space Dandy for the week.
No, One Piece.
Oh, right.
One Piece.
Yeah, I thought there was something wrong there. Anyway, we start
I have
the
to watch
episode.
Space Dandy at some point.
You haven't
You should.
seen it?
It's
oh, yeah,
really
because
good.
yeah, I understand why you haven't.
Been busy.
Yeah, you've been
I
pretty
get why
busy.
you haven't seen it. I'm not saying, I'm not punishing you for that, but when you
love
get a
it.
chance, go see it.
Yeah, I think you'd love it, Ed. It's basically just a pen for animators. That's the best way to put it.
It's basically Animators Playhouse, where
Right.
they go around and be like, hey, what would be a cool idea? I don't know, let's try this. All right, and then they do it.
I think if you go into it like that, you will love it to death. It's a great show. It's fun. So this week we start. Captain T-Bone is going through an existential crisis as he runs on the rails, not the whales. And
The whales.
and then
Sorry.
is that a Dragon Ball Z abridged reference?
Is it?
I think it is.
Everything is now.
That's
I've
also
picked
true.
up a lot of things.
And everyone is surprised to see that a Sea King has been cut in half, and meanwhile Zoro readies for the fight. And we have like very movie 6 animation here. That's super fluid, warped looking animation. And so T-Bone sees the Rocket Man heading toward him with Zoro on top, and then Zombie's like, shit, let's get everything together. I want to blast cannons at him. I want to blast guns at him. And Luffy's like, wait. Zoro knows what he's doing. Let Zoro do this. So Zoro prepares to take him down, and he uses an attack called Bull Demon. He jumps onto the tracks ahead of the train. Yes, that makes sense. Don't question it. And they fight.
It's a good arc for Zoro overall.
Yeah. And he beats T-Bone pretty handily using...
Which actually kind of makes me feel like this fight was a little too short.
Well, they are on the train.
I understand why they're on the train and why it was so short, but like Zoro comments that he's fierce, and I thought that he was going to be a more, I don't know, T-Bone I thought was going to be a bigger opponent.
Yeah.
He ultimately beat Mr. One. There's this thing about Samurai with the single draw and the strike, and being able to finish a fight in one. It's a thing over there to sort of finish it with one blow. When you're a swordsman like that.
Not when they need
Mr.
filler.
One. Yeah, that was a longer fight though with Mr. One, and then he sort of finished him off afterwards with the one strike. But he I think he sort of had it figured out. And it's a really badass moment for Zoro, which is sort of well, there's a lot of stuff like later on when he's not doing much in the arc, but he has a lot of good moments going back through Water 7 and all the way to after this is over. He has a lot of like sort of character building moments in this arc, badass moments.
Just for me, it feels like T-Bone was kind of built up to be a more important character. And I'm again, maybe you guys know, I don't. I'm not that far in the series, but I hope T-Bone comes back because I like his character. I think he's very funny, and I think that there's something to him that maybe there should be. Maybe that we're not going to see this arc. Yeah. Or maybe it's just disappointment, and I'll never see him again.
Well, if you expect that, I would anticipate disappointment in your future.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Zoro goes right back to...
Sometimes character's just a filler character. Not a filler character, but, Just sort of thing.
I really enjoy T-Bone. Don't get that wrong. The short appearance.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he cameo. Does he cameo? I feel like he made one. I don't want to say when, but I think he may make one. I might be wrong on that, though. Anyway, Zoro goes right to sleep after that. And we come back from commercial, and Uso Robin, we return to their adventures on the sea train, where Soge King, or Sniper King, is the arms for Robin. Let's put it that way. That gag, I don't know. Anyway, Corgi does notice there's something amiss. He can't put his finger on it, but he does smell something. It smells like pirates. Usopp's trying to keep his cool and failing. Meanwhile, Robin is doing a very good job at keeping her cool. Then we head toward the action with Sanji and Wanzi. I love this is my favorite part of this fight, where he finishes his sword play or knife play, whatever you want to call it, and then kicks him in the face and over and over and over, and his face changes. Something happens. It looks. Oh, yes.
That's the sound of swooning, Zach.
Oh,
He's very pretty.
Yeah, except he doesn't think so. He is taken aback by how ugly he believes he has become. And Sanji does his little speech. He's like, "You've committed 3 sins: calling yourself a chef, disrespecting food, and insulting my friend." Yeah, okay, those are all on the same level there. Meanwhile, we head to Frankie and Nero's fight. Remember that? I kind of didn't.
I did.
Well,
because
we
have Centaur Frankie right now. Sorry, go ahead, Ed.
No, and I love the gag of Frankie lying down and on his back is one that sticks with me, and I seem to recall Nero getting blasted in the face. I'm not sure if that was
that does happen. He gets punched and taken through the train. That's cutting a little ahead of because they kind of all converge in this really cool thing just to spoil things. After Sanji does away with Wanzi. After Wanzi tries to use a poison pasta cutter, which lasts around 10 seconds. And
he pulled out of nowhere.
Yes, that's which is kind of a funny thing because it makes no sense. Sanji basically just kicks him. He goes through 2 train cars into the CP9 car, and you're like, oh shit. And he does this like strut, Sanji. And to ruin this strut, Frankie does his ultimate hammer and punches Nero in the face and collapses the roof car right behind CP9. And then all of CP9's like, maybe we should get up. Like,
I also like the fact that Frankie hit him so hard that the rain stopped coming through the hole in the roof.
Shh.
It's a fast train.
It is a fast train. You're right.
That's true. I love the question. So Frankie's like, so what have you been doing? Wow, I don't know that. I can't do the Patrick site. Thank you.
I can't do it either, but that's closer to what it was.
He says, wow, kicking ass. And you? Kicking ass. Yeah, that's what we were doing. And the showdown is about to happen here. Can Frankie and Sanji beat CP9? Well, you figure it out. What did you guys think of this episode?
I like this episode. I think mostly the thing I was mostly interested in, though, was Frankie and... Or, sorry, not Frankie. Usopp and Robin, their little adventure. I mean, it doesn't go anywhere in this episode, but just to see the Soge King mask sweating from being discovered and the nose popping out of Robin's hood, it's a funny gag to me. And it's the thing I remember the most out of the episode.
Ed, I know you didn't see this episode this week because you've been studying for something. I forgot.
Yeah.
But from what you remember.
I remember the plot. I don't remember anything about like the art or the animation or the music or stuff I normally like to talk about with anime episodes. But I remember this. I remember the Sea Train being a very good time for the anime. So I could be wrong.
No, you're right. It's a lot of fun. That concludes the Toonami recap. Why don't we get into the next segment? You guys ready?
Okie dokie.
I'm not going to be in it, am I?
You can, but you wouldn't say any. Anyway, let's go on.
Bye.
This is the anime recap for episode 652, the last and bloodiest block. Block D battle begins, and Dennis and I were the last survivors for this podcast on the
anime.
We were suggested to give a little more background to every episode, so this is thanks to Crossword on AP.
Okay.
The chapters covered this episode was 722, if you'd like to go back and figure that out. New characters include, get ready for this one, Dennis, Mummy, Damask, Rolling Logan, Ascilla, and Pika.
All our favorites.
Brief.
All our favorites.
All of the favorites, especially Damask.
And Mummy.
The director for this episode is Katsumi Tokoro, and animation director is Yusuke Isochi. So, why don't we get started? I gotta give props to the directors right away, because things look really cool, especially at the beginning.
They did. It was pretty solid throughout the episode, I gotta admit.
Yeah, I think this was definitely, I mean, there were moments, but I think overall this was a very solid episode, animation-wise. Not always art-wise, but definitely animation-wise and directing-wise. We start out with everything silhouetted in red, while Rebecca is getting booed, trying to paint that bleak picture of what's going on. Meanwhile, Luffy is with the gladiator prisons, who are explaining how Rebecca is their only hope, painting a very bleak picture. It's really incredibly sad when you think about it, because they're all missing limbs, and it's not all
bandaged up and hurt, and yeah. And somehow she's the only one who still remains unscathed.
Well, you know how it is. And we go from that bleak scene to Cavendish riding in on his white horse, and the girls going crazy.
Literally on his white horse. I love it.
Yeah. Who is only there, and I don't know if this is pointed out as much in the anime. I don't think it was. The horse is really only there for the loudspeaker.
I know. Oh man, I was so disappointed too, because I wanted to use the horse's name as trivia question. So next time you're at a panel, guys, going to a One Piece podcast panel, know what Cavendish's horse's name is.
What was it?
It was like Farrell, like F-A-R-U-L.
Oh yeah, we talked about that last week, I think, or something. Anyway, Cavendish nobly declares that it's not you guys, the audience, putting your life on the line so you can't jeer. And he laps up the applause. It looks at first like he's sad and angry, and then one of the guys like, look, I understand the crowd's against you, then they're for you, and they're very fickle. And Cavendish was actually not sad at all. He's very happy about it. And he's hoping there's some journalists there to capture him. Anyway, the match begins. We see a creepy-looking lion, a bunch of other random dudes, and Rebecca. That's basically all you need to know about that part. Then we head to...
that lion is a poor comparison to Buggy's lion Richie.
Yeah, like, why even try? Another lion. We got one. He's amazing. Let's not do additional ones here.
Yeah.
Then we head to Green Bit, where there's a lot being cut by Doflamingo here. I made a joke in the notes there. It's not that funny, though, so I'm not repeating that. We find out Law is not winning. He's kind of getting his ass kicked. And he gets tied to a tree. And, wow, I put a lot of puns in my notes. And Doflamingo strings us along a bit. These are just terrible puns. What was I thinking?
You're thinking, it's 1:30, brain... Oh, no, it's not 1:30. Like, you're thinking, it's
No,
late,
it's 1:30, sure.
Yeah, it's late at night. I'm watching it at the same time as Toonami, yeah.
I could do two things at once. Law mentions how Kaido will be after Doflamingo's head. And Fujitora intervenes as Doflamingo is about to deal the finishing blow. I don't remember if this was... I guess this was in the manga.
I think it was implied, but I don't recall Doflamingo going butt first to sit onto Law. That caught me by surprise. Like, wait, what?
I don't think I have the sorry to those listening. I don't think I have the manga for this one. Or actually, wait, I do. And yes, yeah, I don't know if this... I don't read Japanese, so I don't know if this was specifically implied, but you have Doflamingo and Fujitora talking, with Fujitora doing that gravity thing over Law. So that part is in it. So I assume most of that was in it. A little bit was implied.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, but not that whole thing. But I thought it was still well done. And, Law's got to work on training at X times gravity on Earth.
That's in volume 73, for those wondering, which is not out in English yet, which is why I don't know what they're saying. So he basically says that Fujitora cannot. Some of this was implied. Fujitora says, you can't kill him, you could only arrest him. So Doflamingo takes Caesar's heart, just from pretty easily there. Then we head to the flower field in Dressrosa as the Tontadas arrive at the Riku HQ. Everyone reunites. Robin and Usopp with Frankie and Zoro. The Captain Exposition, of course, goes through the strategy, the stakes, and Usopp tries to plan on how he's getting away. Zoro wasn't there.
Not Zoro yet. Yeah, not Zoro yet.
I forgot Zoro left again. He was there, and then he left.
Yeah, because he wanted to go back to... He had to go to the ship. That's why he left.
Right. I forgot that. Why whatever. So Zoro, and what was the Tontada he's with? I always forget.
I can't remember her name.
The Tontada with a name who's 27 years old, we find out. I think she's my age.
Yeah, wearing like blue policeman style uniform.
Goes through the executives, Treble, Diamante, and Pika. So this was the appearance of Pika. And meanwhile, Zoro runs into Kinemon and Sanji.
Wicca is her name.
Wicca, thank you. And meanwhile, here comes Violet. Sanji, of course, re-smitten. And then we head into the final part of the episode here. Rebecca is staring down her opponents, and she remembers her motivation. Why is she doing this? It's Mr. Soldier, obviously. 5 men on Rebecca at once. It's just not fair, is what Luffy says about that. My notes are me trying to be funny and failing miserably. Who thought I was less funny than me when I wrote things down? And Luffy roots for her for the sidelines, but she holds her own very well. She dodges attacks, kicks people in the water, but the crowd is demanding blood, and they are not getting it. That's where things end off.
I loved Luffy's cheering. It reminded me of when Bon Clay was trying to cheer for Luffy over back in Impel Down. Just like, I know you can't really hear me, but I'm here for you. And I love that it also incited the rest of the gladiators. Like, yeah, we got to cheer for our own Rebecca. Go!
No, it was really good. What did you think of the episode?
I highly enjoyed it. I wish that we could have, our panel allowed us to actually watch the episode first, so that way we would have that as a talking point. But at Anime Expo, but it's okay. We were able to get more fan questions in that way. But ramping up for some really good moments in the Dressrosa arc for those who are anime only watchers. So
yeah, the stakes are
Get
definitely
ready.
The stakes are ramping up, and I don't mean the steaks and salads, which those come later. That wouldn't even make sense.
No, that doesn't. We are very far away from that.
So yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying it. This was definitely one of the better episodes, just animation wise. Pacing wise, it was fine. We've definitely had better, but we've also had much worse.
Yeah, I enjoyed some of the small details, like when they had the part where Rebecca was walking out in the stadium and you see her 4 shadowy silhouettes that were on the floor, how each of them had a little hint of armor design. Like you can see part of the helmet crest and the feathers and part of the cape and stuff too.
There's definitely some really cool directing choices. I think that actually really stands out in this one, which we don't get that much anymore, so I notice it when it happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into the next segment. Are you ready, Dennis?
Yep, and thanks, Crossword, for all that info earlier.
Yes. This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, and theories and then bake them into some sort of oven and then, let them sit for 25 minutes and then flip it over. It's a whole thing, but let's just go through the emails first.
What matters is that by the end we'll have a piece together pie.
Yes.
And then we get to eat it and enjoy it together, and then later, who knows? I don't know how well it'll sit in my stomach, but hopefully well.
I don't think very well, unfortunately. Well, it depends which week it is and what we're making in it. Anyway, I don't think we've talked about that long enough, but let's just get into the questions. Let's start with emails. First one is from Oliver. Hey, One Piece podcast. I thought I'd bring up the Bellamy topic again since there was a point you didn't mention last time. So here we go. Since Bellamy's going to realize how evil Doflamingo is, I think it's possible that he may join up with the Heart Pirates after this arc. Bellamy gets to stick around in the story without it being as important as a new Straw Hat, and it means Law's crew gets a bit more fleshed out. Besides Beppo, the former slave, what was it, John Bart, right?
Yep.
Wow, did I remember that?
You remember that very correctly.
That's a little scary. And those two guys with the hats.
Who are you and what have you done with the real Zach?
Who are the two guys with the hats? Who remembers the names?
I love
of
They
those
have
guys.
names?
Penguin and the other guy. His name's Penguin, right?
I think his name is Penguin. Who's the other one? Does anyone... Let's call him Bob.
Chachi, Joni and Chachi.
Right, Penguin and Shachi.
Penguin and Shachi.
Besides Beppo, those two guys, he hasn't had any characters of note. He should have more actual characters with him equal to the Straw Hats. What do you guys think about Bellamy joining the Heart
But
Pirates?
what if I don't care about Bellamy?
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know why so many people do. We've gotten a lot of questions.
Sure, why not?
And
I
it's
don't
not
have
like
a problem with it.
it's not like any of the other supernovae have any noteworthy crew members that we all love and remember so fondly. They don't.
I mean, I could see it just as like them having sort of a somewhat of a common cause as like former followers of Doflamingo who became disillusioned and would turn against him. But I think they would definitely. I mean, we definitely need to see Bellamy do more stuff in this arc for that kind of transition to make any sense. Like he can't just disappear and then show up at the end of this arc like, "Hey guys, maybe I'll join your crew now," sort of thing.
Well, out of all the gladiators, I think Bellamy would be somewhere at the bottom of my list of people I would want to join Law's crew. I do want to see. I do want to see more people from Law's crew get more fleshed out.
The other guy's name is Shachi, by the way.
Is it really?
Yeah, I looked it up. It's Penguin and Shachi.
No,
So we
it
were-
isn't.
Shachi.
Holy
That's
shit.
Was that an accident,
wow.
dude?
That's pretty awesome. Shachi is like a killer whale, orcas.
Oh well. that
Holy
makes
crap.
sense.
That's crazy, guys.
Wow, I'm awesome.
So, dude, what do you think's going to happen in One Piece?
Exactly. Here's my thought on that. I'm going to be a dick. I don't care about Bellamy.
Go for it. Yeah.
I don't care about Bellamy.
Yeah, I got to agree with that dickish response. I'm actually very
Zero
disappointed.
interest.
I'm disappointed he's still alive.
I like the chest tattoo, I guess, but other than that, like,
Next question comes from Admiral Sato. My question is, if you had the chance to forge your own sword from One Piece in real life, which one would it be? What do you guys think?
Mihawk sword.
Which one?
That's pretty bad.
Knight.
Not
the big one.
not the necklace.
Nah, not the necklace.
I mean that one's pretty deadly if you're the right one wielding it, I guess.
Yeah, not the little apple knife or whatever it is.
For me, definitely Wado. Wado Ichimonji, his
Right.
Queen's sword.
Any other?
I'm going to go Killer.
that-
Like those two curved swords, Killer.
Oh yeah, he
The
does.
ones
have
that are
those.
like attached to his wrist or something like
Yeah,
that.
they're like
Yeah.
weird.
Nice.
He like hold. They're like those metal blocks on his hands. Also, I
trying
want
to-
that mask.
What about the mask of the mask?
God.
Did you all forget about that?
Yeah,
I did.
No,
I
And then
did
you
too.
reminded me.
I'll never forget because he looks like the Octoroks from Zelda.
He was on this week's anime episode for those that missed it,
Okay.
which is the only reason I remember Damask. This one comes from Alex. I had thought about a week or so ago that I would like to know what you think about this. What do you think the chances are that of there being a party at the end of this arc, with half of the Straw Hats currently in a huge predicament?
Ooh, yeah, that's true. 50%.
I think Chopper will have a party by himself.
That sounds disgusting.
Just getting two adults getting a stew on, baby.
One reindeer, one adult, no big deal. He's an adult reindeer now.
That's true. What is he? No, he's 17?
He's like 16, 17, yeah.
I mean, he's post-pubescent because he hasn't died yet.
Guys, he's legal in the Grand Line, all right?
How do you know about that?
I don't know. I read a whole different One Piece than you guys.
This is getting very weird. Steven, what was the question again? Do you think there'll be a party at the end of the arc?
I think it's a long shot, just because the crew is not together. Unless they somehow meet up like very soon after saving Dressrosa, and then have a party. But I think it's going to be sort of like the end of Baratier, where they got split up and Luffy and Zoro were left behind, and Usopp and Sanji, or no, Luffy and Sanji were behind, and Usopp and Zoro went ahead to catch Nami. I think it's going to be like that, where they need to reunite before they can be a celebration.
And boy, was there a celebration after that.
Yes.
It was a pretty good one.
Man, took the words right out of my mouth. I was like, oh, yeah, Baratier.
Yeah.
Like, there
wonder
will
how
be
many,
a party. The Straw Hats probably won't be involved.
I wonder how many people are going to join them on their Expedition to Zoo.
That's a good question.
Of the gladiators?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very good question.
Or the Tontatas.
I feel like the
You can
Tontatas
fit
probably
all
won't.
the Tontatas, theoretically.
That's the new crew members, just Tontatas, like all the Tontatas.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if
Like
that doesn't
dozers-
happen.
Like dozers on Fraggle Rock, always behind the scenes.
I was just going to pull them in whatever dinghy they end up getting to use, since they have no boat right now.
I know we get the crew member question a lot, and Leo is definitely at the top of my list if I have to add one from this arc.
Yeah.
I don't know if many other people agree with that, but I think he'd be a lot of fun on the crew.
I agree. I think a Tontata would be a really cool addition.
We got a Tontata and a giant, and we're set there.
That'd be
There we
awesome.
go.
Yeah.
I think Leo would be great because I can't imagine anyone on the crew who would get along with him other than Luffy. Sometimes, maybe.
No, Chopper.
I guess so.
And Usopp. I
And
think.
Usopp would definitely get along with
Okay,
Leo.
Usopp. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
And Brook gets along with everybody.
I think they'd all get along with Leo.
All right. Never
And-
mind. I take it
You know
back.
what?
Frankie's
And
been getting along with all of them, too.
now we have a seamstress on the crew. There you go, with his
So powers.
I like that. Yeah. Also, Oda's old sketches of what his full crew might look like also lead credence to this.
Oh,
'cause
right,
it
right. Yeah.
Had the little tiny carpenter.
Yeah, I forgot about that. And speaking of Dennis, have you ever seen a Tontata cosplay yet?
Not yet.
All right, well, if he becomes the next Straw Hat, there you go.
Throwing that out there. Challenge from the One Piece podcast. Go.
Just crochet a whole bunch of Tontatas and carry them around.
Dress your kids up.
Braden,
Next Anime Expo, everyone dressed as a Tontata.
every single person.
Every single person attending, it'll freak everyone out. And then one guy, don't tell, and that guy will have the weirdest day of his life.
Braden says, if you could replace a Straw Hat or Straw Hats with a non-Straw Hat character who still fills the role of the crewmate, who would you want to swap? This could be as serious or hilarious as you want, but funny is usually better. He has one if you want an example.
Yeah.
He wants Crocus for the crew's doctor, or maybe Igaram as the ship's musician.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
There are people who fill these roles that it's
Yeah.
pretty easy to swap. Luffy, I feel like, has to be off limits here, but I feel like anyone else. Law instead of Luffy. What would that crew be like?
I would definitely swap out Robin just in general because I would like to anyway. She's not my favorite. And I would put in maybe Buggy, who could just lie about being an archaeologist. Like, they won't know. I just want Buggy, guys. I like the characters I like.
What about the Unluckies instead of Chopper? You're not going to do that one?
Oh.
I've got a soft spot for Chopper, guys. I don't
I'm
know. That's a
sorry.
tough one. Also, they don't talk.
You don't need them to talk. They do enough with their evil staring eyes.
However, Beppo for Chopper, now we're talking.
I think.
I'm gonna. Oh, go ahead, dude.
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously, I wouldn't want anybody to be switched out, but I think it would be funny to swap Frankie with Polly, just so we could see what could have been,
Yeah, that'd be
like
interesting.
alternate timeline.
Yeah. And who needs Sanji when you have Wanze?
Oh my god.
Steven, I want to murder you.
What if you need someone who is good with animals? What if you swapped out Chopper with Gaimon?
Or Appies.
Don't forget about our piece, guys.
Gaimon's at least canon.
Who needs canon when you have our piece? Any others?
I think Gaimon would be pretty funny.
I actually think Gaimon would be awesome. Yeah,
I agree.
in general.
Or anybody, every single person. Here's a new one. Every single person stays, but then you also have every single person that Luffy has asked to join the crew.
So you get the zombie tree.
We'd have the zombie tree. We'd have Gaimon. We'd have Iceberg.
We have Jinbei.
Dr. Kureha, right?
Kureha?
Didn't he?
Yeah, he did ask Kureha.
Yeah.
Wow.
Kureha, Jinbei.
Can you get started on that fan fiction right away, dude?
Oh yes, because that's my forte.
I know.
Writing fan fiction, yes.
All right, last email is from Tamara. It says, "Hey guys, now that Law's flashback is starting, you're speaking too soon. We've been a lot of false starts with this so far. Do you think there will be any connection with the kid version of him that Oda drew of the SBS, which we talked about briefly earlier? Maybe we could speculate about the past of other supernovas based on what we learned there." That's from Tamara. It rhymes with camera, so now I'm a little bit better there. Yeah.
I kind of want to say that maybe when Oda drew that, he was just thinking like, oh, he's got the surgeon powers. Now, this all could fit in, if it is true that like he got the op fruit from Doflamingo or Corazon. But I don't know. Something about that strikes me as just like that's what Oda had established at that point, and he kind of came up with a lot of this backstory stuff since then, maybe.
That's completely possible. Like, I think that, like, speaking as somebody who, I don't know, draws a lot and plans a lot, I usually think of a character design before I think of anything else.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of go from there. And I feel like, it's not that hard to give somebody a backstory and relate to somebody else at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
So Killer's backstory is that he likes ramen?
Yes.
It's a good one.
Remember, some of those Supernova SBSs like aren't much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To go on. So I don't know. Law definitely looks bummed out in it.
No, but Killer Sabo.
Well, for the warlords, the Doflamingo is a really interesting one. Blackbeard was a very fascinating one. Him staring up sadly at the moon, like what's going on there. Maybe he wanted to be Eneru and wanted to go to the moon. So we'll never know until we find out later in the series. Or
maybe it means that his third devil fruit, the Zoan fruit, is like a werewolf or something.
Maybe it means Law just murdered that frog and that he wants to murder houses and everything, like he just said, because he's from a white town.
I hate wood. Grr.
Don't fuck with me. I'm from a white town. I'll cut you.
Never. Yeah. Okay. So who wants to do this for the segment? Who wants to sing it? Dude?
Sure.
I heard you make a noise, so I'm going to go for you first.
Peace the tweet. Yeah.
It's time for Peace the Tweet, where we take your questions, comments, and sometimes even theories. Let's start with Illusion Devil Fruit. What is an ability from an American comic, Marvel, DC, etc., you would like to see in One Piece? Will we ever see Wolverines, for example, do you think?
Healing power?
Healing claws. Like a...
Bone claws.
Is it adamantium?
Thank you.
Oh, claws ready. Wait. I don't know about... I don't know. I think, like, healing power doesn't really have a broad, like, power usage, I think. I don't know. Most of Oda's powers tend to have more than one use.
That's true.
And also, not a lot of the abilities in American comics are silly enough that I think that would fit in One Piece. It's like, super strength. Well, a lot of guys are already really strong. Super speed. They move all pretty quick, too. The ability to shoot things. We have that. Okay, next.
We love that Reed Richards, though.
Yeah, I think Luffy. I think I don't read a lot of American comics. I mean, my exposure is probably the same as like most people. But
Yeah.
go on.
Zero.
I was just gonna say that I think what Oda does with a lot of the powers, including the ones that we see, like fire and rubber, for example, like we talked about, he expands on a lot more than we'll ever see in American comics.
Here's an idea. How about if, like, later on, when the story gets closer to, like, the world nobles, the celestial dragons, there's like a sympathetic character, and he's super rich, like Batman or Iron Man, and like that's his power, is he just uses his money to buy all sorts of crazy gadgets, because we haven't really seen stuff
Isn't
like
that the world's government?
Isn't that Don Krieg?
Oh yeah, Don Krieg.
Oh yeah, okay, a little bit like that, but like, you know, like a cool character, not a villain.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Like a good guy, a cool character.
Yeah.
Yeah, Don Krieg I wouldn't consider a cool character either. I was going to say Wapol is sort of like that.
Yeah,
A little bit, yeah.
And now he's got like unlimited resources.
I mean,
True.
Frankie in a way. Not because of money though, but because he just uses resources to make himself cooler and better.
But I think you know, I'm like someone who is really rich, but is also kind of a wannabe. Like I want to be a superhero, you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that is different from what I was thinking there. Yeah, it's a good question. All right. Any other thoughts on that question? Next one's from Christian, who says, "Film Z, when can I pre-order it?" Well, you could pre-order it now.
If you want.
Yeah, you can pre-order it whenever you want. But it's going to be available September 30th, and it's going to be at Otakon, premiering at Otakon. So if you're on the East Coast, or even not on the East Coast, and you want to see it, you can fly out to Otakon, or drive, or train, or some sort of, you know,
Hitchhike.
unicycle.
A dirigible.
Dirigible, I like it.
Get on your fingerless gloves, pack your bindle, and ride the rails.
You still got 80 days until then, so
Start now, yeah.
Do we have 80 days? I don't think we have 80 days. Until Otakon?
It's end of
It's in the mid-August. It's mid-August. We
the
do
end
not.
of,
okay.
that's
We have half
it
that
is.
time.
Okay, no, I'm thinking of September 30th. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So you cannot fly around the world to get there. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry to burst your bubble. But yeah, you could get it anywhere, including Amazon, which is probably the most likely place you will buy it. And it will
Or
get to your
Right
house.
Stuff,
Or Right
if you
Stuff.
want it earlier.
That'll be September 30th. And that trailer, as we said, awesome. Hopefully said. I don't know at this point. We have Mikey D. Pirate from One Piece at a Time. Which characters who have not been dubbed are you looking forward to hearing in Film Z? Which is, I assume it's going to be called Z and not Z in the United States, because that's how we say that letter here.
Yeah.
It's true, yeah.
When chatting with people around me, we were all wondering how Kizaru would sound.
Yeah, he's a very notable voice in the dub, so I could see that being interesting.
Yeah, Kizaru probably is at my number one as well. I do want to hear more of Zed, Zephyr,
Definitely.
whatever you want to call him. I like that they gave him sort of like a southern accent. Like he sounds like an old pappy.
Yeah, they do a really good job or they've been doing a very good job with that recently, with Shiki as well. So
Yeah, I gotta say that trailer was especially awesome because they focused so much on the sound effect of his giant arm.
Yeah.
Like that's like a really iconic sound if you've seen the movie, and I think that's cool as hell that they like sampled it and used it in the music and stuff.
we'll probably talk more about that trailer either after or before this, probably before. We have one.
Go back in time.
This is from Eric Morales. Since Frankie has been German suplex 3. Oh my God, really? This came up. German suplex 3 times. What wrestling move would you like to see him come up with to defeat Senor Pink?
The camel clutch.
The sharpshooter.
The people's elbow.
The sticky bandit. That's,
Okay. I was not just eating something and almost choked when you said that. That's not what happened at all. Sticky bandit. This sounds so disgusting. Okay.
We've got another one from Sai-chan.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, if you could be any kind of villain, what kind of villain would you be?
A bad one.
Like a bad one or like a bad one?
Like a one that's good at being bad.
Okay.
Bumbling to success.
I'm joking. Do they want a specific villain in the series, or do they just want like an archetype?
All she says is if you could be any kind of villain, what kind of villain would you be? So I guess motivation plays into it. I don't know. I personally would like to sit behind a desk and kind of laugh maniacally and wear a suit and basically the kind of person that we were talking about like a minute ago, but a bad guy.
Lex Luthor.
I guess a Lex Luthor
You
type.
mean me, right? Because I do that.
Well, yeah.
Minus the laughing maniacally.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't. Let's not say maniacally. I would say like maybe try to be cold and calculating, and you wouldn't necessarily be a villain, but you wouldn't be like completely good either. Like very blurred line.
How about Doctor Doom? You got ruling your own country, diplomatic immunity, money, power. Yeah, sure.
I hate
Unless we're doing with One Piece, then yeah, give back to me on that one.
We were talking. Well, I recently finished reading Pluto, which is unbelievable, and I suggest you pick it up if you haven't. And I was reading a postscript from the guy one of the writers, or the supervising writer, or whatever it is, who helped write for that and 20th Century Boys. And he wrote this really, really cool piece on villains in Tezuka's work. For those who don't know, Tezuka was Astro Boy, which is what Pluto is based off of, and how they're, as Dude kind of described, these like gray area villains who, when you really look at them, they're not that bad. They have these motivations behind what they do, or they act like villains, they look like villains, they do bad things, but there's like compassionate understanding behind it, and that you discover, and those are my favorite kind. And we've definitely seen our fair share of those in One Piece. I think that goes without saying. I feel like I brought the conversation down.
I would be like Wapol, because he's just very hedonistic and he's super rich and he has a hot wife and he just kind of seems like he enjoys life a lot.
All right, why not just come up with an amazing answer?
The villainy is just like a side product, basically, of his fabulous life.
It wasn't fabulous when we saw it originally, when he was either getting blasted through the air.
Well, it's just because he, now he knows what it's like. He can appreciate it more.
That's true. I like that. That's a good way to put it. Alex James said, I was surprised you guys made a Laverne and Shirley reference on last week's episode. So are we. Michael Woodburn.
Thanks for your email.
Michael says, Dressrosa, do you think it's likely the longest arc so far? Do you think the next will be even longer, considering we're going to be tackling one of the 4 emperors soon? Yes.
It can be.
It can be, if he so decides.
Sure.
Why not?
I don't know. Yeah, it could be huge, although I feel like it'll be... I don't know if he would put a single part of that arc. It could be another saga type thing, where it's multiple islands and kind of points of interest. But I don't know if he's going to do this, because Dressrosa is becoming one of the longest arcs, and I think it's part of that is just because of how much story there is in it.
There's a lot.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder if maybe he was trying to keep things a little more compact before this, and was like, okay, this is one of the points where I need to really kind of stretch it all out, and maybe he would not be quite so eager to jump into another like 6 to 10 volume arc type thing. I don't know, but it does seem like it could easily be really long, just because it's obviously going to be a very important person they're up against.
I think before we get there, we're going to have Zoe. We're going to have Wano. Probably, because Wano seems to be tied, I think we talked about with Greg, seems to be tied a lot with the stuff going on with Kaido in some way, because...
Could that be like where it happened? Could that be Wano is like the Kaido arc?
It's possible.
It's possible, yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious because then there's also the island where Caribou was on, which I assume is gonna unfortunately play some sort of role in the future. And
Grandma Island.
Grandma Island, dead Grandma Island, and that's where that might be where Kaido is as well. So I don't know. It's a interesting thing to think about. We have at least a decade to go, so there's plenty of time. Stacy Chen says, what is your favorite character design from the current arc and why? Good question here.
I go Pika because it's kind of unique to the entire series. We haven't really seen many like giant stone. It really reminds me of like Shadow of Colossus, like and going to Oda's artwork. There's a lot of detail in Pika on every panel, and I really like. Not like I don't like his art in usual, but all of the Pika stuff in this arc has really stood out in my mind as some of the best stuff he's drawn in a long time.
Steven, yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's a lot of really wacky designs, but I don't know which, kind of appeals to me the most. I guess I really like the Tentatas. I just think they have a really cool look to them, in an adorable way. So yeah, I'd probably go with one of them.
Dude?
I love Bartolomeo. I think he has a fantastic design. He's really colorful. His face is very emotive, even when he's not trying to be. I think, Bartolomeo has got like a top-notch character design, but that's not to say that we haven't seen so many other really great ones. If I could have a couple runner-ups,
Please.
Chinjiao. I love Chinjiao's giant pointy head, and I really like. This might be my favorite design because not my favorite, maybe second favorite, or it's another runner-up. Koala. I love grown-up Koala.
Okay.
I think she's got a really cool. She looks a little different from Oda's other females, and I don't know. I think she's wearing cool clothes.
Dennis.
Chinjiao was said, so I have to go with another person. I'm actually liking the sort of revenge chip on his shoulder that Cavendish has. I guess I got to say Cavendish and Hakuba together. You have the facetious, just another pretty boy for the girls to swoon over, and then you have the complete, like Jekyll and Hyde side for Hakuba coming out and wondering if any type of added potential for that particular side of him showing up again in this arc. I'm just wondering if that will happen. And so, I kind of like his ideas for him. His attire, I guess, has something that's I guess one aspect of his design I'm not too huge of a fan of, but it's just little quirks that he has, like eating roses and stuff too. I find funny.
I guess true. I do like that. Yeah.
I forgot.
I guess
about
I would.
that.
Yeah. I would say, as an honorary mention, because it's more of an homage than an original design. I really like Fujitora's look. The blind guy, and he's got the the geta, the sandals on, and he just looks really cool.
Oh God, this is a hard one. I'll do a few that haven't been mentioned, and this isn't. I like the character design. I think also just because of what the character was for that time, but Soldier, I think, deserves some sort of mention. I think it worked so well with the flashback, especially seeing it in the anime again. I think it made me really appreciate how he looked and what how important it kind of is to that backstory. That was a lot of fun to see, and I think it's a good representation to the toys. I mean, besides, of course, the honorable mentions of the giraffe toy that we saw just about every episode chapter, whatever you want to say. All the animal. There was the monkey with symbols.
Oh, the monkey! I was just about to bring that monkey up.
Those were all good. I think of real characters. Obviously, Musi has got to be up there. And Janango. I'm just I had to look through of which ones really stuck out, and I think of the Colosseum ones, Janango was one of the weirdest and funniest designs. I really like that is just from a design standpoint. But of course, Fujitora is. I love the ode there. And if Steve were here, he'd say Dellinger, so that puts that to rest. All right, we have more piece the tweet. Next one comes from, this is from Adil, our anime news correspondent, who says, do you think it's possible to cancel out the birdcage if someone manages to clear the sky, as in no clouds? Do you think it's related to the clouds? I mean, we know his walking is. I don't think
so. No. Yeah, I think that's just for his transportation. I think the birdcage is literally, he's just throwing string around.
Also, wouldn't that be a little too convenient for Nami to just get the clouds out of there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Nami could do that. Well, Nami's not there.
Well, she's gone, yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, the birdcage definitely won't be gone until Doflamingo's defeated. So that's basically my 2 cents.
I'll take those. Benjamin says, do you think the series would have changed if Vivi had joined the Straw Hats?
Yeah, I probably would have quit.
Please stop the fighting.
No, I kid. But seriously though, what would she have done?
Right.
What wouldn't she have done? She had those little spinny sword things, remember?
Yeah, I thought that
those chain attacks.
She had a chocobo.
Honestly, I liked Vivi a whole lot better when she was Miss Wednesday. She actually had some balls. She threw herself into a fight, and even if it meant losing, she still fought. And I felt like after she came out as Princess Vivi, she still had the conviction or whatever to save her country, but lost a lot of it to the wayside because Luffy and crew are doing most of the work.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it seems kind of silly even to think about these things, but if she had joined the crew, it would not be. This would be a different series. This would not be One Piece because then basically there would be no excuse not to have every character join because she has a purpose for not joining. She's got a country to run, and so if Oda was the kind of person who was like, oh yeah, I'll just have these characters give up on what is important to them to go have a good time and have fun. I feel like it would be like Fairy Tail or something.
Well, yeah, and I think that's kind of one of the best parts about the Straw Hats is that they do feel like a crew of misfits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
None of them really have a home to go to. She has a country, let alone a home. Yeah,
definitely.
That's a really good qualifier. So anyone saying, I want blank in the crew, just, remember that needs to be there. I think 2 more left or 3 more left here. OG says, how strong do you think the string Joker is? Or he wrote Jocker. I don't think that's how that's... Anyway, it can deflect Luffy's punch with ease, but it gets stabbed pretty easily. What do you guys think?
Well, he did get kind of ganged up on from behind.
He did get his head cut off that one time, too.
That is also true. Yeah, I guess I would say based on that in evidence, it seems like he's not really that great at fighting.
Maybe String Joker has the same weakness as Luffy to sharp objects.
Oh God, I thought you were gonna say something way more terrible. I thought you were gonna say he has the same weakness to regular Joker, which is just overdosing on pills.
Whoa!
Wow! Spoiler.
You just became the bad guy of the episode.
That's the type of villain. That's the type of villain dude wants to be.
We can cut that out, right?
We could. Danny said, which part of Thriller Bark are you most looking forward to in English? He's looking forward to Binks's brew.
Tactics 15.
Dude or Steven?
Docking. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Tactics 15?
Pirates Docking 6, Giant Robot Warrior, Tactics 15.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Dude, what are you looking forward to?
What was the question?
Thriller Bark, what are you most looking forward to?
In the dub.
Oh, in the dub.
In the tub.
By far and away Bink Sake.
Yeah.
Far and away.
Yeah. Matt?
Brooke?
Cool. Good answer. Steven?
Well, I already said that. It's docking.
Okay. You too? Okay. I didn't realize that was... Okay. I'm learning what's popular with people. I apparently had no idea. So, I think that's everything. A lot of piece together this week. I'm kind of glad I didn't ask on Reddit, but we will, well, not next week, but the week after that, we'll have piece together again on Reddit. Remember, you could always tweet us, hashtag piece the tweet. We take it anytime. You could also email us. All the other ways, we'll say it at the end. But for now, are you guys ready to round off the podcast?
Yeah.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
This has been the unofficial One Piece podcast for the week of Monday, July 7th. Good episode, right, guys?
Yeah.
Enthusiasm. So we did a manga recap for chapter 752. We did an anime recap for episode 652. A Toonami recap for episode 263 or 1 or something. I don't remember. Anyway, lots of good stuff. Next week, we have a very special episode prep for you. Steve and Dennis and Steven and everyone out there was nice enough to do a panel for us at Anime Expo, and Dennis was nice enough to record it. Thank you so much. I'll say it on the air here for all of your hard work this weekend, Dennis.
Hey, no problem.
Getting that all together. So that'll be on next week's episode. It's going to be a long one, probably. It's going to be a fun one. We'll probably also have some other cool special episodes during the break next week. So keep an ear to the ground. Make sure to keep going to our website. There's also been a lot of One Piece news coming out over the last week or two. So maybe there'll be more. So keep visiting our site to make sure. Big thanks to William, Laura, and Adil for really compiling all of that. Matt, what are you going to be up to in the next few weeks?
I am heading to Japan for the rest of July.
Probably going to be pretty cool.
To hang out. Yeah, I hope so, man. It would suck if I flew over there and it was not. Yeah, no, it's my second trip to Japan. I think I talked about my last one on this show. And yeah, I'm very excited. I don't really have that many One Piece centric things planned, but I'm sure I'll hit up the One Piece store and do some other fun stuff. Maybe check out Dragon's Bar, which I've heard about, and buy a lot of toys.
Well, which One Piece merch are you really on the hunt for this time around? Or which character?
Any One Piece merch? I'm always on the hunt for the same characters, which I think I've made clear in my appearance in the show. I like animals and I like comedy characters. You know what? They do the seasonal gashapon and like the crane machines, and that I always like to get whenever I'm there. They're about to put out the I don't know if you guys are really into the toys at all. They're like smushed. Have you seen them at all?
Yeah.
They go in between the books and stuff like that. I'm gonna try to grab those.
Were you going to try to find these Straw Hats as animals figures, the Figure Art Zero ones?
Yeah, like the tiger and all of those. Those are the older ones, you mean?
Well, they released a second series that has.
Oh, they did. That's right. Yeah.
Not the Straw Hats as much, but a bunch of other important characters.
Yeah, I will definitely be on the look for those. I also buy a lot of stuff that's just like non One Piece stuff. So my days are filled over there. Every store I walk into, I almost cry in.
Well, good luck keeping your wallet together.
I'm excited. Yeah, and I'll give you guys a full report when I get back if you feel like it.
Oh, of course. You're welcome anytime, Matt, and I do mean it. And especially to talk about
that up. Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, get your One Piece out while you're here.
Yeah.
So that could sound different if you think about it. And where can people find you, Matt?
People can find me getting my One Piece out on Twitter at Cameltoad, CAMELTOAD. I do a podcast for the Smodcast Network called Bagged and Boarded, and I'm about to launch a show called The Wayback Pod. That probably won't launch till I get back from Japan, but you can subscribe now on iTunes and SoundCloud. And yeah, those things.
Cool. Yes, and who else? Steven, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Translatosaurus, TRANSLATOSAURUS. And you can also see us Tuesday, probably the day you're going to be listening to this if you're just getting this fresh, but 6:30 Eastern at twitch.tv/Grand Line Gaming if you would like to see the PS3 edition of One Piece Unlimited World Red. Jason, kind of former I guess, member of the podcast. You remember Jason. Everyone remembers Jason.
He's a contributor. Yeah.
Yeah. Senior contributor. He will be playing, and I will be chatting. And I don't know if anyone else is around on Skype. Maybe we'll have a special guest or something. But that should be fun. So check it out.
Dennis.
You can also find me on Twitter at Ichnob, ICHNOB. Coming up, I have, jumping right into the fray of Comic-Con prep. It doesn't help that I have, stuff to work on and going to these conventions that my own podcast, Cosplay Jam, which you can find at skcosplay.com and Twitter, has been lapsing. So I still got to get those Fanime episodes along with the Anime Expo episodes recorded and submitted. But, lots of things happen with cosplay, and sometimes working on projects takes priority over working on other things. So, but that's the that's the life of a cosplayer that we got to lead. But yeah, you can find me next time at Comic-Con.
And dude.
Well, things are about to get busy for the old dude. If you guys and gals who are listening are going to Kineticon, I will be there this weekend. I will be there at the Super Art Fight booth, drawing stuff, taking commissions, hanging out. If you want to come say hi, please do. And we will be doing 2 Super Art Fight shows there. One on Friday, if I'm to understand correctly, and one I think Saturday night. It's the Unleashed show, 18+. And we're also doing a live podcast panel sometime on Saturday. Check superartfight.com for any info. And you can also find me on Tumblr and Twitter at dude! All one word.
You can find me at twitter.com/Zach_Logan, ZACH_LOGAN. You can also find me on a show called The One Piece Podcast. It comes out every Tuesday for some reason. I don't really know why. Maybe it's because we record on Monday night. So you can check us out there. But, who wants to do the honors of running through the One Piece Podcast contact list?
Let's see if I can remember all of them.
Good luck.
Somehow I doubt it. You can go to our website at onepiecepodcast.com. You can find us on social media sites such as facebook.com/onepiecepodcast, twitter.com/onepiecepodcast, onepiecepodcast.tumblr.com. Do we have a DeviantArt? I don't remember. You can also go to youtube.com/onepiecepodcast. We're on Stitcher and SoundCloud. There's a Reddit, which I can't remember how the Reddit format for the URLs go. But I'm
Reddit.com/r/One Piece, which isn't ours, but we're on there a lot, and they're great people over there.
Yeah, we'll post, piece together threads there when
Sometimes
Zach remembers.
Threads. If people want to, they're free to post talkbacks. I'm probably not gonna. I tend to forget.
And now that Grand Line Gaming is back up and running, you can go to the Twitch stream for that too, which is, what's it again, Steven? Twitch.tv/Grand Line Gaming. Awesome. And don't forget to subscribe, rate on iTunes, and we have a Skype number.
That Skype number is 347-497-MAJI.
Maji.
That's 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Call anytime. Did I get them all?
Maji.
You hit
Did
your
I get
cue
them all?
perfectly,
Did I
Matt.
forget them all?
No, I think you got them all.
Monorail.
So, Matt, huge thanks for coming on. Thanks
Thank you guys. This was fun.
It was great meeting you a few weeks ago. I don't know if I talked about that on the podcast.
We met in real life.
In RL, as they call it.
I really exist.
It's good to know. That was a lot of fun.
That was fun, dude. Yeah.
I think I was a little tipsy walking out of there.
As was I.
Good. I think that's everything for the One Piece podcast. Check back next week for our special Anime Expo episode. So, for the One Piece podcast, my name is Zach, and we'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thanks for seeing us at AX.
バルとブルーな色を重ねてゆこう Crazy crazy rainbow さ Twinkle twinkle rainbow さ瞳に映った悲しいリアルを壊せ